Live and in stereo from the corner of Van Buren and Wisconsin Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee. And now, here are your hosts for the Great Circus Parade, Kathy Mykleby and John Malan.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Great Circus Parade. I'm Kathy Mykleby with John Malan, and I'm going to try a little forecasting here.
Oh, do so.
I'd say this parade is going to be colorful, musical, historical, but then that's not the kind of forecast people want to hear.
Well, no, wait a minute. That was a good forecast because the Circus Parade is going to be just that, everything you said, but the real forecast is what's above us. Excellent weather.
Perfect.
Perfect is another good word for it. Sunny skies, blue skies, perfect winds off the lake, cooling us off here, about 75 degrees. The folks right here are having a great time.
And we've seen parades in the past when it's been really hot.
Oh,
so
it certainly
today,
has. 1985, when the parades first started coming back. That was a hot one. You know, Tom Parkinson, who has been here every year, a circus historian, will be with us again to tell you folks everything you need to know about every circus wagon.
He'll be sort of doing the play-by-play action. And we've got Dennis Dean, who is out there with the animals and the wagons right now.
Oh, yeah, Dennis has been having a lot of fun. He's where they're getting...
What do you suppose this guy is? This is the most famous clown in Milwaukee.
Don't walk by and not get back over here.
Listen, did you bring this weather?
I did. I have to admit I did.
You did.
Here,
wipe your nose.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to be a cold spell.
Of
This
course.
man needs no introduction.
Yes, of course, Ernest Borgnine and
How
Tova
are you?
Borgnine. Very nice to meet you both.
Come in here.
John, Kathy.
This is Keith.
Okay. First of all, let's tell them about Keith very quickly. Keith is
Sure.
who?
Keith is our makeup man, believe it or not.
Corey also had the nomination for an Emmy last year. You won last year. What am I saying?
My goodness, that's great. Keith, thanks for being along with us.
Oh, thank you. This is great. The greatest parade in the world. We love it. We love Milwaukee.
You are from Milwaukee.
I'm from
And you
Milwaukee.
saved some
I
makeup
started
for
doing the
yourself.
parade in '65. And then I left to go to Ringling Brothers for 6 years, and now I'm with the greatest couple here, our royal couple of the parade, Ernest
Well, thank you,
and Tova.
John, and I
They're wonderful.
appreciate
Oh,
that. No.
I thought you were the court jester.
All right, let's go to the royal couple. Let's go to the royal couple right now. You come back every year. You love circuses. You love clowning around. Why do you do it?
Only because we're kids again, and because we love Wisconsin and Milwaukee. And believe me, this being our day, the governor has declared this Tova and Ernest Borgnine Day
Is
in
that
Wisconsin.
right? Wow.
Would you believe it?
That's fantastic.
And they gave us this just because we come here to go in a parade, which we love to do.
And John, we're the ones that should really be giving you every proclamation because we love all of you. This is going to be the greatest parade ever. And because of everyone's energy and love, I tell you, this is going to spread across the country, and we're all going to be loving.
It has already.
And
What
Milwaukee.
do you say to people who say, hey, I've seen one circus parade, I've seen them all?
No, you've never seen any. You've never seen any until you've seen the Greater Milwaukee Circus Parade, and every year it gets bigger and better.
Do you
Toss
know
to
that-
Dennis, it says.
Yeah, you know, maybe Dennis is waiting for us. That you folks help make this one of the greatest parades, a national treasure for Milwaukee. We all thank you from Milwaukee, and now I guess we have to toss to Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God
Dennis,
bless.
Dennis, where are you out there?
I'm down here on the staging area, and the staging area this year is at the south end of Juneau Park Lagoon and all along Juneau Park, just north of the War Memorial and the Art Center. We're standing on Lincoln Memorial Drive. This is just some of the activity that's going on around behind me. If you think this is a lot, here's the Swan Wagon. We'll talk about that some more in a little bit. The Bell Wagon, the Carillon, all of the costumes. This is just a part of everything that you're going to see this afternoon. They're America's greatest circus parade. We'll broadcast it all live here on Channel 12. We'll be back with Great Circus Parade coverage right after this.
In my job, bright sunny days like this really hurt my eyes. So I got these custom tinted prescription sunglasses at Lens Crafters, the same place I get my regular glasses, in 1 hour.
Lens Crafters crafts your quality glasses in about an hour by putting the whole lab right in the store. So you can see better and feel better in about an hour.
Got them in an hour. Now it doesn't hurt to see better, even when it's this bright.
Lens Crafters for custom crafted eyeglasses in about an hour.
3 locations including Brookfield Fashion Center. Wait, don't just toss it, recycle it, and join the thousands of families who are helping to preserve our environment, to keep it clean and healthy for generations to come. The Peltz Group makes recycling fun and convenient with one-stop payback centers open 6 days a week at 3 locations. South, A1 Recycling, 21st and Morgan. North, Peltz Recycling, 32nd and Hampton. East, Cream City Recycling on East Thomas off North Avenue at the river. Peltz makes recycling easy.
It's fun and we make money, too. Mom!
What you need every day of your life, you feel every day of your life. That's why. Oh, it's who you are every day of your life. What you need, how you feel every day. That's why. Every day of your life.
The New York Times calls it musical theater at its finest, a triumph. The New York Press says that in form and execution, it is dazzlingly innovative. In spirit, it is theatrical ecstasy. Live at Milwaukee's Marcus Amphitheater for 5 spectacular nights, September the 6th through the 10th, the Old Style Concert Series, together with your Milwaukee area one-time Chrysler Plymouth dealers, bring you a chorus line. On sale now at the Amphitheater box office. All Ticketron outlets are charged at 800-843-1558.
Look at that. The parade hasn't really officially started. We got a band of clowns going by. There's already action in the streets.
This parade gets bigger, a pre-parade for the pre-parade for the pre-parade. We have perhaps one of the best pre-parade specialists around, Dennis Dean, and he is out there where all the activity is, and everybody's waiting for everything that's happening out there. Dennis?
Yeah, Kathy, you're going to see a great parade come by in a few minutes, but it is going to be a few minutes. It takes days, weeks, months. In fact, it's taken several years of preparation to get each and every one of these annual events off of the ground. The staging area is where it all comes together. Oh, by the way, I should interrupt right now while I'm thinking about it. This little outfit isn't because I was tending bar earlier this week. I'm going to be riding on one of the circus wagons. We'll tell you a little more about that later on, but let's go see one of the wagons. Come on, Sean and our traveling cameraman here. This is Dick Strauss and his many happy return circus band. They've been on board this wagon for 5 years running on the circus parade. They are really enjoying it. They are having some wonderful music this morning. And this afternoon, in a little while, the gentleman who is going to be leading the team, bringing the Swan wagon down through the streets of Milwaukee, is a gentleman by the name of William Hauser. You are from Mindoro, Wisconsin. How are you doing?
Fine, fine.
Is this your first circus parade? You look like a pro.
I've been in it 5 times.
5 times now?
Yes, yes.
All with these animals?
All with these animals, yeah.
They're good animals. Tell me about them.
Well, they're purebred blonde Belgians. I raise them. I've raised all these from colts on up and broke them and trained them.
Who's this one right here?
This is Belle.
How's Belle doing today?
Well, she's a little bit nervous yet.
I think she's raring to go.
You bet she is.
Are you ready for this parade?
You bet we are.
Going to be a good parade?
You bet, it's the best.
You're hauling the Swan bandwagon, number 87.
Yes, I pulled that 3 years.
I'm going to go over here and take a look at it. Can you come over with me, or can you leave this animal? Let's go take a look at the Swan bandwagon. I'll tell you a little bit about it. The Swan bandwagon is one of the wagons that makes a circus parade absolute robust history. It is a Swan bandwagon, obviously, because, let me take you up here for a second, because of the ornate swans that are carved along the side of it. Tell you a little bit about this thing. Well, you've been on it before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the the Ringling Brothers wagon that they used to pull in front of all the parades. They used that in the front. That is why it's in the front here today. This is the Ringling section.
Okay. Now this is all the Ringling section that this bandwagon is going to be in, and the statistics that they gave me on the sheet say it's over 23 feet long and it weighs 4 tons.
Right.
You don't worry about getting run over, do you?
Not really. Not really. I hope I don't have a foot under there.
Is it an easy wagon to handle?
Not bad with 8 horses.
Okay.
I work my horses, so they're used to work.
Stops on a dime, give you 9 cents change.
Right.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk a little bit more to some more of the people who are down here. And let's go back up to Kathy and to John for a moment. We'll come back down here in a little bit and show you some snakes and the snake den wagon right after this.
Chicken's got a great new summer deal now. You get a 10-piece bucket and
The Summer Fun Pack Meal, just $10.99. 10 pieces of original recipe chicken.
Fun, fun, fun with Kentucky Fried Chicken today.
Plus large coleslaw, mashed potatoes with gravy, and 4 buttermilk biscuits. The Summer Fun Pack, just $10.99.
Fun, fun, fun with Kentucky Fried Chicken today. Fun, fun, fun.
Time and time again, the world's great pictures are trusted to one brand of film, Kodak. Why trust your memories to anything less?
Where's Cycles first opened their doors in 1940 and put Milwaukee in the mood for cycling. And as the times changed, Where's did too, introducing lightweight multi-speed bikes and the best imported bikes from around the world. Today, Where's has grown into Milwaukee's most complete total fitness center with the world's best bikes and the latest in indoor fitness equipment, and continuing their 48-year tradition of excellent service, the best selection, and lowest prices every day. Where's.
What's better than the quality and comfort of a Lazy Boy chair? A pair of Lazy Boy swivel rockers or recliners. Pick a pair. Pick your price at the Lazy Boy Showcase shops. Pick a pair sale prices start at $3.98. Pick a pair of Lazy Boy recliners, $4.98. Pick a pair, $5.98. Pick your price now, $6.98 per pair or $7.98. Mix or match. If only one is needed, prices will be cut in half. Pick a pair by Lazy Boy at the Lazy Boy Showcase shops. 139th in Capitol, 68th in Layton, and 185th in Blue Mountain.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
And Van Buren, thank you very much. I was just thinking about Dennis Dean in a snake den.
Yeah.
That's going to be a little dangerous.
Well, I think
don't you think?
no, I think that's exactly where we should look for Dennis Dean, at a snake den. Don't you think so, Dennis?
Yeah, I would say so, John. This is the Snake Den wagon. It was built in 1906. It is bright red and ornate gold. It is mostly, I don't want to say aquarium, but what do you keep snakes in?
Cages.
Cages. Okay. This is Gretchen, and this is Missy, and this is, you are members of the Humbert family, right?
Yes.
You're from Lombard,
Illinois.
Tell me about this necklace.
This is a boa constrictor. He weighs about 30 or 40 pounds. They eat rats.
Has he eaten recently?
Last week. They only eat about once a month.
Okay.
So you don't have to feed them that often, but...
Let me come over here. I have to tell you something, that all of the circus wagons that you see in this program today, in this parade, are original, real, and restored circus wagons, which is part of what makes the circus parade great. So we have to have original and real and non-restored snakes in the snake den, right, Missy? Huh? Is this a happy character?
Very happy.
Can I pet him?
Sure. Would you like to hold him?
Can I?
Sure.
Do we have time? Can I hold this guy? How do you do it?
Put it on your neck.
Okay. Any special precautions here?
No, just...
Have you eaten recently?
A few days ago.
Okay. Wait a second. I'm trying to hold a microphone. I'm trying to hold earphones so I can hear. And the earphones just went out, so I presume we're still on. And what is this snake's name? Does it have a name?
This snake's name is Paul.
This snake's name is Paul? Mm-hmm. Paul is heading over towards Sean, who's behind the camera. Look at that. Well, except for the fact that he's kind of squirmy and I'm trying to hang on to these microphones, catch him before he drops.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, great. That's great. Do you know offhand why they kept snakes in a cage in a circus parade?
I'd assume because it's something unique and different.
No, I think it was something to put around beautiful ladies. Thank you very much. The Snake Den, built in 1906, part of what you'll see today, all part of the Great Circus Parade. These are bystanders who's going to be watching the Great Circus Parade, right? Working on it? Hi, we'll be back right after this.
The new Pizza Hut Pepperoni Lovers Pizza asks,
why is everybody always picking on me?
just one bite and you'll know this new pizza is pepperoni paradise. 2 2 prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between 2 extra plentiful portions of cheese. Now get 1 for only $8.99, or better yet, 2 for just $4 more. New Pepperoni Lovers Pizza.
Why's everybody always picking on me?
You know why.
Making it great.
The New York Times calls it musical theater at its finest, a triumph. The New York Press says that in form and execution, it is dazzlingly innovative. In spirit, it is theatrical ecstasy. Live at Milwaukee's Marcus Amphitheater for 5 spectacular nights, September the 6th through the 10th, the Old Style Concert Series, together with your Milwaukee area one-time Chrysler Plymouth dealers, bring you a chorus line. On sale now at the Amphitheater box office. All Ticketron outlets are charged at 800-843-1558.
It's on the way, but after Saturday, it'll all be over.
The huge kitchen and bath sale at Drexel.
4 days of savings on top quality kitchen cabinets and bath items.
You betcha, Jer. Kohler, the best known name in bath products, is on sale at Drexel. Save on the complete line for 4 days only.
Save on Acre fiberglass tub and shower enclosures. Acre means top quality. Acre products are durable and made with care.
4 days only, get a 4% discount for cash. 4 days only, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
The 4-day kitchen and bath sale at Drexel, your super home store.
Well, welcome back to our great parade coverage location at Van Buren in Wisconsin. And you know, Kathy, each year the Circus Parade is always very, very special, but this year there's really a neat addition to the parade.
They're adding 80,000 pounds of horsepower, believe it or not. You've heard about it a lot this week. It's called the 40-horse hitch. It's going to be pulling the 2 hemispheres wagon. And this is really a first. It's not a first for the parade, but it's a first in a very long time. It has a lot of history behind it and a lot of horses in front of it, actually.
Yeah,
more
definitely
than we've seen in a long time. Parker Drew was in Baraboo just a little bit sometime last week, and he brought back this story, and we're sure happy he did. Parker?
You know, circuses the world over have always ballyhooed their shows as having the biggest big top or the most elephants. Well, the Great Circus Parade is no different. The Bostock bandwagon is the oldest wagon in today's parade, but this is the largest, the 2 hemispheres wagon. This massive 10-ton wagon was built for Ringling Brothers in 1902 at a cost of $40,000. Its name comes from the 2 hemispheres prominently displayed on either side. And it is indeed the largest wagon in today's parade. 28 feet long, 8 feet wide, and 10 feet high. It's also one of the few circus wagons ever built strictly for parading. There are no doors and no cargo space. They're using a Caterpillar tractor to draw the 2 hemispheres wagon up for loading on the Great Circus train. But later on today, you'll see this wagon being drawn by a magnificent 40-horse hitch. It's the first time since 1904 that this particular combination of the 2 hemispheres wagon and a 40-horse hitch has appeared in the Great Circus Parade. The man at the reins, Paul Sparrow of Zeering, Iowa.
Get in. Get. Hey, get in. Get.
It's no easy feat taking control of 40 horses, but Paul learned from a master. In 1973, the last time a 40-horse hitch appeared in the Great Circus Parade, it was Paul's father, Dick Sparrow, at the reins.
Paul has a tremendous team put together. They are matched Belgian horses. They're beautiful in every sense. He actually has about 55 horses to put 40 together. And that team, coupled with the 2 hemispheres bandwagon, which we've just restored, the first time since 1904 that the 2 have been put together, and Peggy Coburn designing a special band costume for it, I think it'll be unbelievable.
Wow, it really is unbelievable, isn't it?
It's going to be an incredible sight, and it really is so important to that father and son team out there. The dad, the last one to I guess, steer the 40-horse hitch, and son hoping that everything will be done. Apparently, the first time they did this, or someone who actually was doing the 40-horse hitchers years ago, never gave any instructions on how it was done, so we're actually going to have some
It's a
instructions
learning
for
process,
future.
yeah. And, you know, that's just a type of a story that goes on for most of the other hitches and the horses that come here. So it's a great story. Now, you know, Dennis is out there with the 40-horse hitches. And
Okay, well, check it out. Dennis, take it away.
Kathy, this is the 40-horse hitch. It is all set to go. It's got a beautiful wagon attached to it. John, come on over here. You're the
Welcome to
Good. We've never met. I've been a Steen Channel 12.
Yes.
You own the 40-horse hitch.
Yes, I'm the guardian of it and the owner of it, but we want to share it with everybody. It's been 85 years before it's been back down to Wisconsin Avenue.
That's true. That is just amazing.
It's history in the making.
Spectacular.
It's the largest band we've ever had in the parade. It's the largest team and the largest wagon.
That
So
is
it's,
a heck of a lot of coordination. Are you going to be handling the reins?
No, I'm not going to be, but I'm going to be watching closely with the wagon. See, this wagon is a masterpiece, and it's looked upon as our greatest Michelangelo type of masterpiece of circusdom. It's really, the carving on it is created, and all the museums think it's one of the finest examples in the world when it comes to wood carving.
I've got to ask you something. Who in the world thought of putting 40 horses on a single wagon?
Well, it's James Bailey's idea when he was fighting with Ringling Brothers doing 20 horses on a 15-foot wagon. You got to have a 30-foot wagon with 40, you know, and everything. And you always had to be bigger and better. And this is as big as they ever got. And the reason we never want to put 4 or 48 is this is authentic. This was the greatest.
Well, that was one of the reasons that a lot of things happened in the circus. Bigger and better and selling that circus performance.
That's the American way, and the circus is all America.
That was the way the parade actually came about. The circus parade was a promotion for the circus that went on afterwards. The circus parade would come to town. The circus parade would draw the people. The circus parade was an advertisement to get the people to come along and to see the circus. That's where they paid their money, and that's how people like Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey made their money. The outfit that I've got on goes with the circus wagon that I'll be riding on. We'll tell you a little more a little bit later in our show. We'll be back after these messages.
Channel 12's live coverage of the 1989 Great Circus Parade is brought to you by True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. By your Toyota dealer. Whatever car or truck you choose, you'll love the quality. Who could ask for anything more? By Kunzelman Esser. Wisconsin's finest furniture store since 1900 is proud to be a participating sponsor of the 1989 Great Circus Parade. By the Peltz Group, a family of companies serving Wisconsin's recycling needs. By Kodacolor Gold Film, show your true colors. And by Mark's Big Boy.
America loves the hometown team and a chance to laugh and yell and scream. America loves a young kid's dream, and America loves its big boy.
And you'll love our new fresh summer specials like grilled shrimp salad, tangy barbecue chicken with fresh garden salad, and leave room for fresh strawberry, blueberry, and Door County cherry desserts.
America loves its big boy.
Let True Value Hardware stores protect your growing interest with money-saving options, like this Lawn Force 20-inch electric hedge trimmer from Black & Decker, just $84.66. And this Weed Eater 17-inch grass trimmer and edger, only $119.88, is a powerful time-saving investment that goes anywhere. Then enjoy trouble-free management and a bonus nozzle when you take home the Suncast Hose Mobile, only $22.88 at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
You are not going to believe this place. You okay, dear?
You'll find the land of sky blue waters in every Hams.
Hams that feel refreshing. Hams.
Register to win an Alaskan fishing trip and prizes from DIY and Igloo. Sweepstakes details at participating stores where Hams is sold.
Today, Kunzelman Esser invites you and your family to enjoy the Great Circus Parade. Kunzelman Esser, Milwaukee's largest fine furniture store, is proud to be a major contributor in bringing it back to Milwaukee. Tomorrow, we're celebrating by giving you the greatest furniture sale on earth. Kunzelman Esser's big July furniture clearance sale, featuring the greatest circus of values ever assembled under one roof.
Kunzelman Esser.
Mitchell at South 7th.
The furniture people.
Welcome back. Another great day for the Circus Parade. A lot of folks out in the streets. A lot of folks out in the street. Now, we're going to go back to Dennis Dean, but before we check in, he's going to be getting on the Charging Tiger Tableau wagon. Last week, we had the pleasure of meeting the mayor of Baraboo.
He happens to be have the town where the Charging Tiger Tableau wagon and so many more are stationed year-round when they're not here in Milwaukee. And he's proud and pleased to have the Great Circus Parade and the Circus World Museum make their hometown in Baraboo.
We see about a $10 million a year impact from tourism in this area. There's no question that the museum is one of the major attractions in this area. And we're very proud of it. We enjoy the heritage that we have of the circus, and we really look forward to every summer when the circus acts come and the people come and enjoy it with us.
You know, Dennis is going to really be able to enjoy this circus parade because he's actually going to get on one of those wagons and be all dressed up.
That's the rumor I hear. Let's see if he really is nervous or really has the guts to do it. Are you out there, Dennis?
Hey, John, we'll do it. We'll try it. You know, to borrow a line from another production, what is a circus without lions and tigers and bears and things? This is the Charging Tiger Tableau. See if you can figure out why they call it a Charging Tiger Tableau. Look at this. Great orange and black. Beautiful tiger painted on the side of this wagon. This wagon is, built around the turn of the century, and it's the reason that I'm wearing this outfit, complete with, they call this a boater. I've never understood why, but this hat is a boater. I'm going to go up here because you are not allowed on board one of these unless you have costumes. So red, white, and blue is me. You know, you got to have a ladder to get on board this thing. Hi, Dick. How you doing?
Hey, just fine. Do you have your boarding pass, sir? Well, I'm not sure we allow you on.
Somebody hand me a boarding pass.
Well, I guess we'll allow you on here.
Thank you very much. Whoa, boy, what a shot from up here. Dick, how you doing?
Just fine.
You've been with circuses and parades and things for how long now?
All my life.
How do you keep the hat on? That's a first secret.
You take and hook it on the back of your hair to begin with.
Okay.
And bring it forward.
Oh, got it. There we go. How's that? Pretty sharp, you think? Are we ready for this parade? Are we ready? Can you tell me a little more about this wagon?
All right, this wagon here is was built approximately in the early 1900s and weighs about 8 ton.
I'm glad we're on it and not under it.
You bet. And this is constructed the way the normal parade wagons were back in those eras. They're all heavy and to be able to take the brute of going over rough terrain and being pulled off mud lots and everything.
Boy, those wheels have steel rims around them. Steel tires is what they're, right?
I'm fortunate enough to be old enough, not that I don't like to admit that I'm getting old, but I've seen as many as 32 horses hooked onto one wagon and 7 elephants pushing it just to get it out of the mud.
That's why they called it the mud shows back then.
Yeah.
The wheels that are on these wagons had to have steel tires on them. The wheels, the entire wagons had to be extremely heavy duty because in the 19th century, many of the circuses in America traveled cross-country using the rural roads. In fact, most of the roads back then were dirt, right?
You bet they were.
So when it rained in America's heartland, it turned to
mud.
And that's why they call the circuses the mud shows, because they traveled on the roads which were pretty dirty and pretty muddy at the time.
And then we went to railroad.
Well, we're going to be driving along on this. I'll be riding on top of this. We're going to have a great time. This is the first time I think I've covered circus parades. I've covered circus trains. This is going to be the first time I've been actually able to ride along with and be a part of the circus parade. It's a great experience. Dick, glad to be on board. I will try not to fall off. I'll get my boarding pass. We will catch you, John and Kathy, a little bit later on as the parade goes past Van Buren and Wisconsin Avenue where you are. The Great Circus Parade will continue, and we'll get on the air with all of it in just a few.
I think we're going to do that right now, Dennis. We're not going to let you go to another commercial
I don't know.
break.
Dennis has a great seat in the parade. You've got to admit that. But this one right here is going to be picture perfect for
Well,
people
it certainly
who
is, and for all the folks out there who are watching, they're going to get matter of fact, the parade will be coming right around the corner. We're right at the beginning of the parade, but this gentleman's with us now. All the folks will say, who's that guy in the middle?
He's the circus expert, Tom Parkinson.
It certainly is.
Thank you.
Tom, thanks for being back with us. You've been here every year since 1985 when the Circus Parade came back to Milwaukee, and you've got a lot of great things to tell the folks about today,
Well, it's a great thing to be back to see again, and it's been a pleasure every year. I'm sure this one will be at least as great as all the rest.
And Kathy, whenever we need to know anything, and the folks out there, of course, need to know anything about the Circus Parade, this is the man that will tell them.
Well, that's good to have an expert around. I've been reading a lot about all the various wagons and tableaus that we're going to be seeing. And maybe we ought to let people know exactly where this Circus Parade is going to wind its way through Milwaukee. And you'll be convinced you're in a good position if you're watching here on Channel 12.
Definitely.
Let's take a look at our parade route. It's going to start out, of course, at the parade showgrounds at McKinley Park, and then sort of wind its way toward Wisconsin Avenue.
Right. It starts, you know, it's a little different, though. This year it's the War Memorial Center where they start going. Last year it was right here at the corner of Cass. So it's just a little bit different at the beginning as it starts up Wisconsin Avenue. And guess where we are?
We're right here at the beginning of the parade. I'm a little curious. Yesterday I did an interview with the parade director, and he was saying that generally he doesn't see a lot of people out on St. Paul at the end of the parade, that might be a good place for people who don't want to, you know, have to fight the crowds to go.
Fight the crowds.
I'll bet they're pretty packed because we aired that both at I think it was the 6 o'clock and the 10 o'clock news. The secret was out. We'll have to check out St. Paul. I think so.
They certainly will. You could see by the crowds on the streets right across from both of us, this is going to be a packed parade one more time. I mean, the people are all the way back to the buildings, and they're even up on top of some of the buildings
and
here.
And the police are already making their way down the street. You know what that means. That generally means that the parade cannot be too far away. A salute to the police officers. Hopefully they won't throw us out of our position here, because it certainly is a delightful place to be.
Well, you know, usually those police sirens, sometimes you hear them and you right away think something bad may have happened, or an ambulance or something of that. But in this parade time, you know that the parade is shortly behind us. So the people all the way down Wisconsin, as the police go by, are getting very excited right now.
We're going to see some bands in the very beginning of the parade, and I understand that the reason, perhaps Tom, you can help me out with this, you don't want to have a lot of music in a circus parade because you don't want to disturb those animals too much.
Well, the bands in a circus were limited because they of the financial business. They just couldn't afford that many musicians. And so they had a big show band, and then they would divide that up. And some of them would be on the first bandwagon. Most of them would be there. And then others would be the nucleus for bands on other wagons. And they might have a clown bandwagon, and they might have one made up mostly of ushers, but somebody out of the main
and if
band.
we look here at the crowd, have you ever seen this many people at a circus parade?
It's a huge crowd.
It's absolutely. What I'd like to do is I'd like to test with this crowd. I know we really can't do it, but the controversy between Calliope and Calliope. We're going to see some of these.
There's no controversy.
I mean, some people say Calliope, some people say Calliope.
It's a Calliope.
Let's get to the bottom of this, Tom. What do you
Well, it's a very difficult thing to judge, and I don't know that I want to make an all-out statement.
You're not going to stick your neck out on this
I
one,
say
huh?
Calliope,
Okay.
and I think a lot of people who have watched them on riverboats have said Calliope.
All right.
But that's not a hard and fast rule.
All right. Now, I
Now,
know
if you're
that
talking
some are
about-
steam and some are air or something like that.
That's right. And we'll see some of both today. The steam Calliopes are very rare. And the one that we will see today is one of two remaining where the keyboard is operated mechanically. Most of them have been converted to some kind of an electronic keyboard.
As I was looking through the book, too, about all the various wagons, we're really lucky that so many people were interested in preserving these wagons before they all found their way to Baraboo, because obviously, you know, they were treasures to many people before they actually were donated to the
There's a
Circus
story
Museum.
behind each of them that somebody thought that was a thing to say.
Well, we're starting the parade right now. The 1989 Great Circus Parade has finally begun, folks, as you look down the avenue. We lead off with the United States flag presented and guarded by the Color Guard of the Milwaukee Metropolitan Non-Commissioned Officers Council.
And this is generally the official start of a lot of parades whenever you see one, but we're going to actually have two official starts of our parade here, because first we're going to be seeing some bands, I understand, and then a little bit down the ways we're going to have the official opening of the circus portion of the parade.
Which is a wagon.
There are people, in fact, the Color Guard is right now passing a group of people that I saw last night who are actually sleeping in a tent overnight in order to keep their seats so that they would have the prime view here. Can you believe that?
That's quite common. Quite common up and down the route for people to come here even a couple of days ahead of time trying to get some space on the street, prime space on the street.
Last night I saw somebody pitch a tent when it got pretty cloudy about
Yeah, it could have gotten a little cold out there, actually, just be spending your whole night all night.
You know, Kathy, with the flag controversy now going across the country, notice how everybody is really responding to the colors of the United States going by.
And we have a very good crew of people out here. Some of them look a little weary because I do believe that these are many of the people who spent the night in the tents or on lawn chairs all bundled up with your basic blankets and the like. My goodness gracious, I believe we do have our first band, the United States Army Band, Pershing's own, by the way. They are a tremendous band. It's been around since 1925, and I think it's time for us to sort of keep mum. You know what I mean? So we can hear them play.
And right behind there, you see the U.S. Navy flag unit.
They never run out of carriers since the Great Lakes Naval Air Station is the Navy's largest training facility. But believe it or not, they actually change this group every 3 weeks. It's got to be a bonus to have the circus parade on your dance card or your walk card.
A new cast every 3 weeks.
And then behind them is the United States Coast Guard, represented today by a 4-person color guard and 19-member precision drill team.
The man in charge of the unit is the rear of the drill team. His name is Paul Newell. He is Radio Man 2nd Class.
This unit is stationed in Alexandria, Virginia.
And they have a 120-step cadence. I don't think they're doing the 120 right now. It looks more like a 3 or 4 step, but it looks pretty good to me.
And this is always fun, Kathy and Tom. Jump in here anytime you'd like, because it's the cavalcade of antique automobiles going by, and there are a lot of different types of just gorgeous classic cars.
And I recognize Bernie Peck on that particular, what is that?
It's a 1906.
Shocked? I'm not shocked to see Bernie in this, though. He's such a car collector.
There's some beautiful cars in this collection.
Is that a Cadillac Roadster?
I think so. It's definitely a convertible.
Yes, it's been converted.
I don't know, Tom, do you know, is a Roadster the same as a convertible? Is that in the past? You never hear about Roadsters anymore.
I think a Roadster was a 2-passenger, 1-seated car.
Oh, okay.
It had to be some time before they had these horseless wagons in circus parades, so often carried by the actual horses. And here's I think what we have here, a Clement Rayard. I'm getting a little education here. Followed up by a Buick. These guys look like they're going out for a good time.
Circuses carried automobiles as features, as exhibits when cars were new. They started as early as 1864.
Some people out here have to work on their steering, though. They're kind of making their way back and forth on Wisconsin Avenue. Perhaps that's why the police officers are around, just to make sure they don't go all over the place.
There's a very famous Model T Ford that just went by.
The costumes are tremendous, too. You should take a close look at some of the period costumes that you're seeing inside.
That's the Model T Ford once again.
Yeah.
I wish they'd honk their horns for us. I don't know if they're all in working condition. Here's
some of them are horns where they squeeze a bulb to make them honk.
This is a loaded car here, as far as passengers are concerned.
It's a 1912 Buick. I never heard of this, Tom. A 1912 Pope Hartford.
Well, that's a name that's certainly disappeared for now.
Yes.
Has enough spare tires with it.
Now, if we saw a lot of these cars going down the streets in the 1989, 1990 era, traffic would be moving a lot slower than it does today. All the people getting a look at these cars. Grandpa's telling grandkids about the cars they owned one time.
Why, sure.
That's not horn.
It's a 1916 Chevrolet touring car. That's a Studebaker.
Oh, my goodness.
1917 Studebaker.
Studebakers were made for people, my goodness gracious, that were much taller than I was. I remember being behind the wheel of a Studebaker one time, could barely get my foot to the pedal.
Kathy, you're not that old.
Well, no, it was somebody's old car.
Oh, I see. And there it is again.
That's the number 12. That's the Channel 12 car? Is that
It's
what we're
the
using now?
Channel 12 Kathy Mykleby Studebaker touring car. William
Wow.
Ruby riding in there.
I wish we could get a shot at some point of our robo camera operator that we have out here on the grounds. He's basically
There he is,
there
Bill Burhoff.
Bill Burhoff once again carrying a major load and bringing you a tremendous picture. Oh boy, here come obviously the more popular cars. We're hearing more cheering, or else it would be the people in the cars.
I think in the cars, yes.
I have some flappers here, apparently going out for a nice old night in the town. I think that's a Model T, if I'm correct.
You're correct. John Herman driving the Model T.
This car looks a lot like a Model T, but I don't think it is. The next car that we're going to be seeing, I think.
It's a Dort touring car, 1923.
It doesn't. It looks like the trunk is in the front of the car, but I guess that's got to be the engine in there. My goodness gracious, I don't see any legs. You know, sort of Fred Flintstone style.
That's an electric car.
Look at
that's
the
an electric car?
darling little girl.
Oh, that's tremendous. I had no idea.
Is she a doll or what?
The engine. Yeah, I guess that they just kind of with big
Plug it in.
batteries back there, Tom.
Yes,
I don't
that's
know.
right. Well, this is a 1923 Ford Depot hack.
Well, that's like a station wagon now. It's a part of the evolution of station wagons.
That's where we got the Woody, I suppose.
I guess so.
Those wheels are tremendous. I mean, the spoke wheels are quite a sight to see.
Is there any significance also, Tom, with the fact that we're looking at motorized vehicles versus later on in the parade all we'll be seeing is horse-drawn or animal-drawn?
Well, I think they've segregated the parts of it for that very reason. And in a way, what we're seeing now could be compared to the gathering of the crowd in a town to see a circus parade. The people are coming in from surrounding cities or their neighborhoods to see the parade. In that sense, we can consider these people part of the
We
audience.
have a stalled one, maybe. What do you think here? Okay, here we go.
There's a Woody.
I think we've got more than 25, but maybe 34 cars, I guess, totally in our cavalcade of antique cars.
It's a
here today.
1927 Kissel Roadster.
Now this takes a lot of work too to keep these cars in working order. I can't imagine that it takes a little time to make sure that all these paint jobs are perfect and
First, they've got to restore them from the way they've discovered them and put them back in first-class condition.
it can't be easy to find parts
That's
for
a
some of
Pierce
these cars.
Arrow.
Hey, that's not your father's old, or it's not your father's old, could be your father's Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
The old generation of olds.
Here's another Auburn.
We see
That's a
Jim
famous
Sensenbrenner,
brand.
I believe, in this particular car that we have here, Congressman. Jim Sensenbrenner. The weather must have been nicer in the old days that everybody could drive around in these nice convertibles. What do you think, John? Is there any truth to that?
Actually, at this time, it was worse.
Really?
Yes, we were in a very, very up and down climatic pattern, which we're kind of going back to.
Well, now our cars are air-conditioned, so we can leave the tops up.
These gorgeous cars just continue to go on. As you look at these cars, folks, remember we are at Van Buren and Wisconsin, right at the beginning of the parade route. You're not going to miss a thing from our vantage point. A 1932 Duesenberg dual cowl. What a beautiful car,
Isn't that
Lieutenant
something?
Governor Scott McCallum.
I guess when you get a job like that, you get to drive in one of the finest cars in the parade, I
That's
suppose.
it. A 1934 Packard dual cowl. That is a beautiful automobile.
I like the color. I don't know, what color would you call that, though? My goodness gracious.
Goldish, of goldenrod.
Let's call it gold.
Yeah.
All right, somebody's very popular here, and this car is a tremendous-looking little roadster. And here's a Ford, a 1935 Ford. Now it's getting to look like. What is this guy yelling? He's not a crook.
Is everybody having a good time? Come on, louder!
Well, he's got the mood of the parade down pat, doesn't he?
He sure does.
A 1936 Auburn dual cowl.
And we must say Representative Jim Moody looks like he dressed for the occasion today in his car. And this is quite a tremendous occasion. You know what I think we ought to do right now is there's a name that is just synonymous with the circus and the Circus World Museum, and that's a gentleman by the name of Chappie Fox. He has been considered, I think, the granddaddy of it all at times. And then we've got Tom here, who's, I don't know, we'll argue that one. We'll have the Calliope, Calliope, the Chappie Fox, Tom Parkinson argument later. But why don't we hear from Chappie Fox?
This isn't any kid's game. When you have 750 horses out on the street and you have a string of 14, 15 elephants, and this year we're going to have like 21 camels and maybe 20 llamas, and 2,500 people in wardrobe, and they're being funneled down through maybe 800, 900,000 people. We're just relieved when everything gets back and everybody's had a good time and there have been no problems.
Well, there's no problem here.
Good time and no problem.
Yeah, isn't that a great
way to do it?
Kool-Aid, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but.
Uh-oh, it seems to me that we've got the state police coming down the street here.
Hope they don't stop here.
All right, the state patrol is out of town now. That's from the old days of when, you know, cops and robbers had to go chasing all over the place. You know, we hear the gunfire outside.
That looks like a movie car.
It really
Yes, it does.
Hey, talking about movies, a lot of these circus wagons that we're going to see today have,
yes.
you know, been stars in many a movie themselves.
That's correct. They've been owned by Walt Disney Enterprises and United Artists and all those kinds of people for movie purposes.
Look at the clowns. They're having a good time already in some type of motorized vehicles.
A truck of clowns.
Yes.
My goodness gracious.
A conveyor of clowns. And there's going to be a lot of clowns along the street, as you see, folks, entertaining the crowds out here. And that's their job. That's their role. Look at the great kids all dressed up like clowns today.
They look all right. They're the Kool-Aid color contest winners, as I saw in the back there. Now, this is the old book wagon, I believe, from the public library. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'll read. Oh no, Milwaukee Recreation Department is the little circus.
That was close.
But the library gets a plug too. They don't mind. We're moving on to another truckload of clowns.
They're in a Ford 1.5-ton truck. I don't see a date on my list though. That's because we ran out of gas. They ran out of gas in the middle of the street.
I don't know. Do you think they're just sort of, oh no, my goodness, it's being towed along by the old
Behind them, though,
truck?
Behind them are the motorized trolley cars coming up as soon as, of course, they tow the, oh no, they didn't have to tow it. We're going to get that car started with the clowns and the truck.
Oh my. From the jumpers to the cable cars, I suppose.
Yes. These bright red vehicles you see in front of you were purchased in 1985 by the Milwaukee County Transit System and are actually used almost year-round. They become very popular for parties and weddings and are also used by the transit system to shuttle people to and from festivals and all summer long along Milwaukee's lakefront.
And among the riders are today's Great Circus Parade Court of Honor. They're the people who earn the right to a special ride by having their names pulled from a drum during a drawing for the Grand Marshal of the Circus Parade. Of course, we'll meet the Grand Marshal later on during our coverage. Now, did trolleys have a role in the old days of the circus?
Again, their role was to bring the audience to town.
Okay.
And the audience for a circus was so large that the local trolleys couldn't handle it. So they borrowed trolleys from the next town in order to handle the huge crowd.
Here's Milwaukee's version of the Keystone Cops.
Oh, no.
That's an actual paddy wagon, you see. They're used for many years by the Milwaukee Police Department. This is the police patrol.
So what was the police role in those in the old circus parades and the circuses? I suppose they had to keep their eye on some of the performers themselves.
Well, there might have been some of that, but they also did this kind of thing. There were clown cops, and they had a patrol wagon. Even when they were horse-drawn, they'd have a wagon that was fixed up to look like almost like Keystone Cops.
Coming up now, we're going to have the 1907 pumper wagon and hose cart. One time a firefighting tool in Cedarburg. We all know where Cedarburg is, about 25 miles north of Milwaukee. I think they're safe in Cedarburg today, even though the pumper wagon is here.
Even though the fire department is here.
Now, Tom, I don't remember this wagon last year. Was this wagon not in the parade last year?
I don't recall that.
And why do we have horses before the actual introductory wagon to the circus parade?
I think this is how they had to get those darn wagons to the fire.
That could be.
About 1906, there was a great fad in having fire shows that were really circuses with a lot of fire equipment, and they'd give a demonstration of firefighting.
I guess they had a couple of challenges when they would deal with this particular pump out here, because they'd have to worry about getting to the darn fire first. They had like awards for the first person to arrive, so they jump on the old truck, and I don't know what the award was, but
well, the reward, and not the award, but the reward for these folks is perfect weather out here today, and they're just enjoying it.
Oh, there's a Dalmatian. Is that a real? No, that's not.
Well,
this is
a 1920. Oh, you're right. It isn't. It's stuffed, Kathy. This is a 1927 pumping engine, once used by the Milwaukee Fire Department.
I think the fascinating thing is the fire department built its own trucks at that time.
Isn't that something?
The folks on unicycles going by, high-wheel bikes of the 1890s.
You know, when they were building those, I don't know if there's any kind of correlation, but we have a lot of people who were building circus wagons in Wisconsin, and then you had fire departments building their own wagons. Oh, my.
Look at that.
Look at those great stunts.
That's unique.
During a Barnum and Bailey circus in the fall of the 1890s, they had a big demonstration of all kinds of bicycles because there was a big public craze about bicycles. They had these big wheelers and little wheelers.
These people call themselves the wheelmen.
I guess that's a 6-bike hitch. 5-biker, yeah.
Exactly.
A first in the circus.
That's got to be a first.
That's tremendous.
It is.
Oh, now it's a 7-bike hitch, but okay, well, these guys are going to catch up and make it about a 40-bike hitch before that.
The Wheelmen, they're an international organization dedicated to preserving the history of early days of bicycles. We have riders from both Wisconsin and Illinois today.
Oh, here he goes again. The old horizontal bicycle ride. Look, Ma, no hands. I'm not
Great
sure.
job.
There are a lot of moms out here today that are saying, yes, this is really very nice, Junior, but I never want to see you do that.
Don't you dare try that.
These riders we're watching were organized by James Feeney of Racine, Wisconsin.
And I believe we have a mounted police patrol band. Another look at that.
Well, these are 12
band.
riders, yes, from the Mounted Police Patrol from Wisconsin State Fair. They became a regular division of the Fair's Police Department in 1973. Today, I think it's Lieutenant Daniel Kowalski commanding the riders.
These mounted officers handled traffic and parking at the State Fair, and we all know that can get pretty crowded on a good day. They also take care of the VIP escorts. I've never had one of those. Have you had one of those?
A VIP escort?
No,
I was talking to a mounted one of the mounted patrol people Thursday night.
Yes?
Out at the Expo Center in Waukesha. Might not be from the same group, but it was a horse, and there was a person sitting on top of it in a police uniform. So I guess does that include a VIP?
I guess that's pretty much VIP treatment.
There were some mounted police at the lakefront as the parade was making preparation.
That's right, too. Yes.
Now, what about the horses walking these streets here? What do you think? They're pretty well trained at dealing with asphalt.
Oh yes, and they've got the shoes.
They seem like they hardly even notice the crowd is out there.
they turn their heads and look at this.
We'd
way,
like to
look at
think
that.
they smile sometimes, don't we? But that's the old
Well,
Mr. Ed days. I don't.
They show off too. They
Yeah.
prance.
The horses are very well trained, and these folks can really command them to do anything they want. You would think it'd be kind of scary with all the people right up on the curb, but it's no problem at all.
We do have a very well-behaved crowd, I must say. They're not throwing anything or doing anything that
They're all interested in what's going by.
Well,
Exactly.
they better not, because the Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps is coming up the avenue right now. The Great Circus Parade of 1986 actually began in grand style with the Army's Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps.
They look good in their colonial overalls and red greatcoats.
These uniforms are typical of those worn by musicians in General George Washington's Army 200 years ago.
Of this People's Parade, as it is called, because once again they pulled her name out of a hat. And what an honor.
Wouldn't that be fun? A big surprise.
So how did they pick the Grand Marshals in the old days?
I don't think they had.
Oh, all right. They didn't have to fight it out there for them.
Well, they didn't have any honorary sort of a thing. The owner of the circus was the whole thing. He was the Grand Marshal.
That's what's so nice about the parades these years. It makes it a real personable kind of thing for Milwaukee. Anybody can have the opportunity to being the Grand Marshal. I think that's
Certainly
really nice.
Community affair.
And here is our co-Grand Marshal, Anna Allison.
She lives in Wind Lake. Of course, that's just south of Milwaukee here in Wisconsin.
She actually rode in the Circus Parade for the first time last year. She was the old woman in the shoe.
I don't recognize her as...
She's not an old woman, for crying out loud.
Right, yes.
Okay. And
You know, a
here's
few
Mayor
years
John
ago-
Norquist and his wife, Susan Mudd. Actually, we're going to have to try to pick them out in the crowd here a little bit.
Right.
And there is the mayor and his wife, Susan. They seem to be on kind of a rocky road here a little bit, little stop-and-go traffic.
Yes, I was going to just ask Tom, is there any interval that these wagons have to... I noticed that they will stop, go. Is there an interval they have to keep?
They try to keep an interval. It's pretty difficult to do.
The mayor is looking rather dapper. His wife is lovely in her period costume. This clothing is just absolutely tremendous. Hello, Susan. Hello, John. And here's Bob Caston and his wife, Eva. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about their particular wagon. And we also see David Schultz and his wife, Joanne, our county executive. Dressed for the occasion.
Beautiful carriage they're riding in also. It's a
Some of the names
Landau
for different
carriage.
models of carriages now are used by automobiles.
Oh, yeah.
Landau and Rome.
There's Senator Caston. And
They
of course,
look like
Senator
they're
Cole.
So beautiful. Yes, Senator Cole. The wagons are really dainty, you know, for the days that they were actually used in. I suppose that breakdowns were possible. These weren't the ones in the farms.
It was possible, but they were built by real craftsmen, and that's why they last until today.
Well, we've got a band coming up finally behind the parade of carriages, and this is a good band, the Brookfield Central High School Band. It usually makes one summer appearance, and this is it. It's the highlight of their summer. In fact, they've taken this occasion to show off for the first time in public their brand new uniforms.
Oh, that's nice. I'm sure they worked very hard to get those new uniforms as well. They're going to be playing the Washington Post March, I believe, by John Philip Sousa. And so let's just listen. we've got the Milwaukee County Mounted Sheriff's Patrol. Earlier, you overheard me talking to a little boy that's right next to me. He's probably about 4
Having
years old.
fun with the little boy, yeah.
Well, I thought he might be able to help me with my commentary. I
He's
don't
a
know. We're
cutie.
gonna have to.
As all the little children around us today. Milwaukee County Mounted Sheriff's Patrol.
All the deputies assigned to the patrol volunteered for the duty. And I recognize a few of these fellows that I've seen working out at, say, the county parks or perhaps at the county stadium on those wonderful days of a ball game. Now, we are going to take a look here. I believe we have a very important person on this particular carriage that we say here.
Governor Tommy Thompson and Sue Ann, I should say, Thompson, his wife. Carriages and horses provided by Mrs. Ann Friend of Heartland, Wisconsin.
And this, I believe, will be the formal start of the circus parade. We have seen some of the dignitaries who have made it possible for this parade to travel through Wisconsin Avenue, but now we see the 4 Belgian draft horses driven by Todd Stitt, I believe, and Don Houston. This is actually the introduction wagon.
This is the introduction wagon. This signals the formal start of the 1989 Great Circus Parade, a spectacle which is, of course, larger and grander than any street parade ever presented by any circus. Am I right on that, Tom?
Oh, yes, it's quite a lot larger than any circus could have had. They would generally have 1 bandwagon and maybe 3 or 4 tableau wagons, 10 or 12 cages. It might take as much as an hour to pass, but that was an exception. Usually it'd be 20 minutes, 40 minutes. So this is many times larger than a circus would have had. This is like the World Series. This is everything all rolled into one.
Well, it is. I've heard it compared to like Mardi Gras for New Orleans and the Rose Bowl parade in Pasadena for Los Angeles. And actually, we draw more people here on the streets of Milwaukee for those events. So yes, it is a big national treasure for Wisconsin and the city of Milwaukee.
Obviously, the people here enjoying a beautiful summer day and the tremendous sights of the circus parade today.
And they know by looking at the introduction wagon also that the biggies are coming down the avenue behind it. So we're getting ready to see some of the other great wagons in this Great Circus Parade of 1989.
I'm told that a couple of the horses on there were actually in a 40-horse hitch some years ago.
Well, look at how the folks are just enjoying today.
There might be some future clowns in our audience here. I've noticed some kids, you know, kind of goofing around and doing that kind of thing. And of course, we met a little earlier, perhaps the greatest clown we have here at the Milwaukee Circus Parade, Ernest Borgnine.
And he is a joy. The man is just a joy. You talk to him and he just keeps you laughing.
He really does. We had a chance to talk to him a little earlier, too, and thought we'd share those words with you.
There's another famous clown with us today, Lou Jacobs, who's a famous ringling clown of many years. I've seen him this morning. He was putting on the makeup and will appear in the show.
There's a young man right in front of us juggling. I don't know if we can get the camera around to show him. I mean, there are people in the stands doing all kinds of things on the street, and clowns going up and down the street entertaining all the folks who, as we said earlier, have done a lot of preparation to get a good spot on the streets. Some folks staying overnight, some staying more than that, putting in more time than that.
And so that's the importance of getting here early, but I think Ernest Borgnine has the answer to the question of the importance of clowns.
Keeping the smiles on everyone's face.
Listen, they bring joy and happiness to the people. They bring all kinds of things. They make little balloons for the kids. They become clowns. They're making the people happy. That's what it's all about. And you should see the joy on their faces. That not only the clowns, but the people.
Not only the clowns, but the people. Again,
and that's what it's all about.
Here's a cute little face out here in the crowd, and a lot of faces in the crowd.
I think this is going to be one of the circus parades in the last few years that's going to be remembered as one of the most pleasant weather-wise.
Oh, easily.
We've had very up and down weather, but generally pretty good since 1985. The hot one, of course, being 1985, and then we had a year or two after that where we had a brief shower, but most of all, it's been pretty good weather for the circus parades.
I think it's been great. The shower was minor.
Oh, it's the Lincoln
Hey, it's
Way
an encore.
Community High School Band coming up the avenue now.
Playing the Washington Post by John Philip Sousa.
They are, aren't they? Well, maybe we should judge and see who does it. We'll let you folks out there judge and see who does it best. Here they are, the Lincoln Way Community High School Marching Band. Now this band is from New Lenox, Illinois, and Kathy, as you know, I live about a mile from Brookfield Central High School, so I'd have to give my vote to Brookfield Central High School.
Oh, well, I'm going to give my vote to Brookfield Central High School, too, for crying out loud.
Tom, would you like to go with New Lenox for?
My comment's going to be historic.
Okay, good.
John Philip Sousa ran away with a circus.
Oh.
And his father had to get him, bring him back.
Oh, is
And
that right?
Are you kidding? And when did he start writing some of his wonderful marches?
Well,
Was that after
sometime
the...
after that, yes.
And we're going to see the flag bearers on horseback right now.
You know, color and pageantry were an essential part of any circus parade, and that's the case with these folks. 9 members of the Wisconsin Morgan Horse Club carrying American flags.
Let me get back to this John Philip Sousa running away from home and joining the circus. Do you know which circus he joined?
I've looked and looked, and I've worked with the biographer of John Philip Sousa, but we can't identify it. He lived in Washington, D.C. His father learned that he was joining the circus that day. He didn't even get out of town.
Was he a clown, or was he just kind of...
musician.
He was a musician. Well, that's good. He didn't have to clean up after any of these
No.
fine horses that we see here. Here's the Ringling Brothers Circus section leaders.
These performers introduce a special section of this year's Great Circus Parade. The section honors the Ringling Brothers Circus, and in it we'll see many features that appeared with the Ringling Circuses between 1892 and 1918.
And those of you out there who think that there's a little alien or something who's on TV once a month named Elf was the big special elf. We've got Elf Ringling, one of the brothers of John, Charlie, Elf, Al, and Otto.
This is the Swan Bandwagon, one of the traditions of circus parades of yesteryear. It was a tradition for them, circus owners, to make their most beautiful vehicle the #1 bandwagon in the street procession.
That is tremendous. What can you tell us about it, Tom?
The side of this is copied after some statuary in the Versailles Gardens in France.
Oh, yes. Very ornate carvings I see there.
It's surprising to see the photos and see how closely they're copied.
And this one, if we're going to keep track here, we've got a 2, 4, 6, 8 horse hitch here. As I understand, it really would only take about 2 horses to carry
That's
any
correct.
circus wagon.
It's the showmanship of it. They like to show off the horses.
And those were Belgian horses. You know, from now on, folks, we'll be seeing units from the world's largest and finest collection of circus wagons. They're really going to start coming down for you. These wagons have toured nationally and internationally with some of the world's greatest circuses of the past.
The wagons cover a tremendous span of years as well. Some of them from the pre-Civil War, 1860s period.
Here's Lou Jacobs, famous clown you mentioned earlier.
Oh, yes. He has spent nearly 70 years with the circus. Apparently, his dad didn't come and take him away like John Philip
he
Sousa's
stayed.
dad did.
And then his family has stayed in the circus, and his daughter, a newlywed, is going to be appearing later in the parade.
Oh, he's got a lovely little umbrella over his head, but now we're going to take a look at the Ringling Brothers Snake Den. Dennis showed us this a little bit earlier. Tom, why are there numbers in front of these wagons?
Well, that was to identify them so that when the parade marshal or the lot superintendent wanted to find a particular wagon, they could identify it readily.
sort of shorthand then, I
And
guess.
they were coated so that all the wagons connected with the big top were of like the 20s, and wardrobe wagons were in the 30s.
Speaking of wardrobe, check out this woman's wardrobe. A little
That's something.
snake around the shoulder there. Very lovely.
These brave ladies are members of the Humbert family of Lombard, Illinois. And as you mentioned earlier, Dennis talked to them, and actually Dennis even had one of those snakes around
I don't
his
think it was
neck.
real.
Oh, you know Dennis better than that. Here comes the...
It's like your Dalmatian.
That's right. I
Yeah,
thought that Dalmatian was real. I'll put that around my neck.
Here comes the South Milwaukee High School Marching Band, one of the busiest summer bands in the parade, from South Milwaukee, Wisconsin, of course.
They cover a lot of territory. There are like 130 people in this particular band.
Well, there certainly is. The Rocket Marching Band is under the direction of Sharon Owie, who's held that position now for 18 years. Well, that's a long time.
You were saying that in the early days, you never would see this many bands in a circus.
No, they'd have one real band that played in the performance. They would also have a sideshow band and a clown band, and then they would make up kind of pick up bands for the rest of the
You
wagon.
never know. A high school band could join in if they wanted to. And I think it's time to listen to
I don't think that happened. They're just going to be coming through one after another.
Do you think you could slip in there if you just painted your face? Put some lipstick on your face?
I guess people have called me a clown.
No, not you. I'm saying anybody in the crowd. I think you could just kind of...
Here's a brand new unit that's a glowing example of the creativity and sewing of Peg Coburn, the wardrobe mistress for the Circus World Museum. They're the Rainbow Equestrians, these 19 elegantly costumed ladies that Peg has costumed are part of a new unit called the, as I said, Rainbow Equestrians.
That Peg Coburn must be one of the busiest
She's
seamstresses
marvelous.
in the world. Now, how does one design these particular dresses? I'm wondering if they're really not somehow or other large pants dresses, or else they have to jump on the old horse here and...
It's beautiful the way the dresses just cascade over the backs of the horses.
I mean, they are
just the same.
glowing in the sunshine. It's beautiful. Thanks for the sun, John, and we needed that.
Ooh, especially for this unit.
Look at the
beautiful
on the
pastels.
yellow.
Got the yellows and the peaches and the lavenders, or the mauves, I think one would describe it. And even the horsemen are wearing mauve costumes. It's unusual.
Well, the sounds of the Ringling Brothers Bell Wagon of 1892. Beautiful sounds also. Very nice. This wagon's carrying 9 large bells, which weigh a total of 4,300 pounds.
I guess this wagon was actually built in Barrow, not
And the bells were made in Milwaukee.
It's a Wisconsin effort.
When it first appeared, it was called the Bells of Moscow.
The Bells of Moscow? So how did it change from that?
Well, I think that was mostly press agent creativity.
And by the way, that is Sarah Roltgen, member of the Circus World Museum staff in Baraboo, playing the bells.
And here comes some more clowns.
Well, this is
just
the
isn't impressed with our response. We're going to have to see what he can do.
Looks like the seashell tableau wagon.
That was a typical wagon built for a smaller circus. It was built in Kansas City by the Beggs Wagon Factory for a J.H. Eschman show. And then it's been in a lot of other small shows since then. This might have been the #1 bandwagon for a little show. And
Well,
here
it does
it's
weigh
kind
3
of swallowed
tons,
up.
even for a little. Now, the difference between a tableau and a wagon is obviously you're supposed to
The
be
principal
seeing
thing is that the tableau has a design on the side and a roof. And in a band chariot, the people sit kind of down inside the top of it.
And here are some of the people who got their reserved seating overnight. Once again, Wisconsin Avenue looking sort of like a tent city overnight, so that a lot of
Yes.
people could enjoy. I always wondered how they, sort of pick straws. You get to stay from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I would have drawn the short straw, I'm sure. Oh my goodness, I do believe
Look at
we
this.
are going to see our very first animal in a wagon here.
Well, we had a reptile in a wagon
Oh, that's
already,
true. You had that snake.
which I guess is
I had my
technically an
eyes
animal.
closed. Fair to watch.
This is the Ringling Brothers Circus Hippo Cage Wagon.
It started out as a cage for cat animals, lions, tigers, that sort of thing. And in the 1940s, the Ringling Circus was given a pygmy hippo, and they converted this wagon to accommodate it.
Do you know, Tom, I think this is the first time this hippo has been out of the water in the past years we've done this. Do you remember the hippo ever being out of the water?
I don't, and this one's a frisky one. We've been watching him on the lakefront for a couple of days, and he's out walking around a lot.
His name's Petunia. Yeah. It's a pygmy hippopotamus, by the way.
And here we have some equestrians of 1908. They're basically dressed in the costumes that you would see in 1908, the Ringling Circus Parade. And again, we're going to say this woman's name often, Peg Coburn, our seamstress.
From the Circus World Museum, yes.
You might have imagined these in a small town or in any city some years ago, before color television, before Kodachrome, before all the color that we see now. Brilliant costumes of this nature were really a big attraction.
Oh, yes. It's a good thing we have color television now because you wouldn't want to miss the glorious colors that
True.
we see here.
Well, if we didn't have color television, you'd have to come down to the streets of Milwaukee to see this. That the brilliance is just tremendous.
Had a few horses that seem a little friskier than others, but these are obviously fine riders. This is the first time these women have been on a
No,
horse.
I think they've done quite a lot of this, enjoy it, know what they're doing.
This is always a favorite, the Ringling Brothers Giraffe Cage number 93. Built back in 1893, I guess.
Got a little bit of a renovation this year. They put a canopy on top of the...
No, they did.
I think that's in the interest of the giraffe, which in its native habitat sees a lot of sunshine, but maybe that's to kind of protect him here.
This
Giraffes
guy's name is
thrive
Tall
on
Too.
circuses. There was a too tall, and now this is tall too.
Is he hiding? Or is he just checking out the other side? Oh, there it is.
Looking at the other audience, bowing to both sides.
Well, let's see.
It's a
Tall Too
great
gets
wagon.
up to about the second floor of the first Wisconsin. Well, actually, I think it's just pretty good point of view. Now she's going to check out the very top floors of the first Wisconsin. There has been some discussion this year about the care of the animals and making sure that I think that the people at Baraboo are trying to make sure that they're going to be very comfortable when they're out here, but some concerns over the displays of animals in cages, of wild animals out here. What do you think about that, Tom?
Well, I think that animals in a circus are among the most fortunate animals in the world because they get such good care, such good attention. They get all kinds of advantages from veterinarian treatment, medicine, shots that animals in the wild just don't get. And it's very healthy for them mentally to be with a circus because they view different things all the time. A scientist in Switzerland has developed that.
Here's the lion and mirror wagon. I don't think you're going to be able to see yourself in the mirrors back at home, but isn't that gorgeous?
It certainly is.
It used to have a top on it. We'll see that in a separate wagon later.
Is that a telescoping
And this is,
wagon?
yes, it's telescoped down inside and can come up. And it's one of the oldest wagons in the parade.
They have a band on top.
Yeah, it originally was not built as a bandwagon, was it?
No, it was built as a chariot with, not for a band, but just to be spectacular, just to be a great example of wood carving and to be a thing that would really impress people that were seeing it for the first time.
And riding in this carriage is Mr. William Schuett, President and Chief Executive Officer of Security Savings and Loan Association, of course headquartered in Milwaukee, and they've helped secure this parade for the last 4 years. Security Savings.
Their contribution this year, $100,000. Help with the parade on the street.
And we're all happy they did that.
And I think they also had something to do with those Circus in the Sky fireworks.
Yes,
and that was quite a show.
Fireworks in circuses. Common in the old days, or?
Yes, there was a lot of that, and they used fireworks in the show, and also there were separate circus-like units that were fireworks shows. Payne's Fireworks was the company that toured.
Here comes a pretty popular clown in just about every color. We've got blue hair, red hat. Very stunning.
Coming right at us, folks. Coming right at us.
Aha, the Clydesdale hitch and
I was going to say, this one's for you, folks.
These are the Budweiser Clydesdales, an 8-horse team pulling a restored beer wagon built in 1903 by Studebaker.
You know, this isn't really a circus feature, but it's certainly one of America's most popular parade attractions. You see this wagon pulled by Clydesdales just about everywhere in major parades.
John, even this has a circus background because in the past, the Sells Floto Circus had a parade with a feature from the Armour Meat Company. And their horses had won a great prize in some state fairs and appeared in the Sells Floto Parade.
Well, as the beautiful Clydesdales move down Wisconsin Avenue right past our viewing point at Van Buren in Wisconsin, we're going to take just a couple-minute break here, get some messages out to you folks. But remember, you will not miss anything. There's a big gap in the parade right now, and we'll be right back with the 1989 Great Circus Parade. Stay with us.
Wait, don't just toss it, recycle it, and join the thousands of families who are helping to preserve our environment, to keep it clean and healthy for generations to come. The Peltz Group makes recycling fun and convenient with one-stop payback centers open 6 days a week at 3 locations. South, A1 Recycling, 21st and Morgan. North, Peltz Recycling, 32nd and Hampton. East, Cream City Recycling on East Thomas off North Avenue at the river. Peltz makes recycling easy.
It's fun and we make money, too. Mom!
I see your true colors shining through. True colors shining through. Don't be afraid to let them show.
The best moments of your life deserve the most true-to-life colors. Kodacolor Gold 100 Film.
Your true colors.
You're looking at the most grueling automotive test of the year. To simply survive, you've got to be good. But to emerge as 4x4 of the year, you've got to be the best. Toyota's SR5B6 is the 4x4 of the year. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
A dark, quiet home can suddenly say welcome with a few bright values from True Value hardware stores. This master electrician security light with photocell is just $18.88. A solar-powered accent light from Intermatic, only $29.99. Collects sunlight by day and shines at night. Add beauty with this 4-light floodlight set from TrueGuard for just $39.99. And a quartz security fixture with halogen bulb is only $10.99 at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Well, welcome back. And you're looking at clown uniforms from the Baraboo Thunderbird Marching Band.
They're going to be playing another number by John Philip Sousa, Thunder. Take it away.
Well, Ernest Borgnine, coming down the avenue right now, has something to say about the transition to a clown.
Well, I found my clown impersonation the minute that they started putting a makeup on. And as they put on the makeup, I have the pictures that actually showed the clown effect being put on and the changes of face that actually happened. And I could see myself actually becoming a clown. And you can hide all those inhibitions behind that mask, and it's wonderful because suddenly you're a kid again, and you can let it all out. Nobody's to say, oh God, isn't he terrible? Look at that, he's acting a fool. No, no, he's acting a clown. That's what it's all about.
Being a clown is all right, it sounds like to me, as long as you can't be recognized.
I got that from the message. But it does transfer a person's character to a new form, I'm sure.
And here we have some dogs riding in style. It's a dog and pony show, I guess, correct?
Dog and pony shows were a style all their own. They were small, and they were intended to appeal to children before other forms of entertainment did. Even circuses originally appealed almost entirely to adults.
Now, earlier we talked about the old woman in the shoe from Pass. Here is the old woman in the shoe wagon.
And she is Mrs. Jean Ringling from Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Oh, well, this could be a relation to those Ringlings of famous circus?
Yes, she's, and she lives on Ringling Boulevard in Baraboo.
Oh, is that right?
Hi, Mom. I can't resist. The old woman in the shoe.
Now, she's the wife of Henry Ringling Jr.
And Henry Ringling Sr. was one of the original 7 brothers.
Okay.
And we have the Cole brothers.
It's the Unifon wagon.
Oh.
Number 82, last of the 4 miniature circus wagons we've been talking about.
I describe those as tuned doorbells.
Tuned doorbells.
And they play a keyboard, ring different bells.
Look at the tiny ponies drawing this wagon.
It's kind of unusual to see the little ponies out there because we see so many horses, but they're electrically operated, those bells?
Yes, it's like a doorbell. As you see, there's a line of little bells on there. These became popular in about 1910 and 1925 or 30.
Boy, that would be one heck of a doorbell to have, though, in your...
I thought chimes were pretty fancy.
Yeah.
This is the Cage number 82 wagon. Saw service with several circuses built in the 1920s for Howe's Great London Circus, and then went to the Golden Brothers Circus.
It was a mystery until this morning what savage beast was going to be in
That's
here.
right.
So I do believe we see a couple of cats.
Well, I think
a little bigger than that, eh?
Let's say that those are female lions.
Yeah, those are a little bigger than cats.
Well, they're in the cat family.
They are the cat family, yes. And you're not lying.
That's right.
Okay. Well, we're not lying about this, folks. We have a lot to show you, a little bit of a gap in the parade. So why don't we take care of a little bit of business and come back and you'll see everything in the 1989 Great Circus Parade. We'll be right back.
America loves the hometown team and a chance to laugh and yell and scream. America loves a young kid's dream, and America loves its big boy.
And you'll love our new fresh summer specials like grilled shrimp salad, tangy barbecue chicken with fresh garden salad, and leave room for fresh strawberry, blueberry, and Door County cherry desserts.
America loves its big boy. You're the end of the rainbow, my pot of gold. Your daddy's little girl, heaven to hold. A precious gem is what you are. A ray of hope, a shining star. You're as bright as the sunshine, the morning's first light. You warm my day, brighten my night. Your sugar, your spice, you're everything nice. And your daddy's little girl.
Don't the pictures of your lifetime deserve Kodak film?
98,398 miles. My Toyota truck. I love it.
Well, you probably won't believe it, but I have 407,510 miles.
101,978 miles. 213,000 miles.
126,672 miles. My Toyota truck, I love it.
I love it. And I love it. I really love it.
1 mile, and I already love it.
Could ask for anything more.
Welcome back to the 1989 Great Circus Parade. Is that a llama, Tom, I see?
There are lots of llamas coming, and they're a very popular animal in many ways through the country now. Michael Jackson, the popular entertainer, has some. And to see them in a harness like this is not unusual for a few, but to see this many is certainly
This
unusual.
is a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 llama hitch.
A lot of llamas.
Lots of llamas.
Lots of elves there.
This is the Hagenbeck Wallace llama cart that they're pulling along.
Apparently, Mr. Floyd, Floyd Zoppi, who is the owner of these llamas, has applied for a listing in the Guinness Book of World Records because he doesn't believe there's anybody else who's hitched 20 llamas in one time.
This is Jolly the clown we now see riding in a carriage. One of the most popular clowns, again, in the Circus Parade.
Actually, this is Russell Brown from a recently newly formed clown operation.
The Sparks Sea Serpent Tableau wagon, built around 1910 for the Sparks Circus, a regional operation best known in New England and the South.
And another one of our mirrored bandwagons we see here. What was the idea behind the mirrors, Tom? So that you could
Well, I
sort of
think
see in the parade?
it's been said that it was economy, but I think also it was a great thrill for people to see themselves, just as people in this audience are seeing themselves, in this Gallmer Brothers mirror bandwagon.
Oh, okay.
Nice band up there.
The Dixieland Band was typical of the circus, and it was kind of a refuge for Dixieland when it was not popular anywhere else. Sideshow bands played Dixieland.
Now here comes Jolly the
There's
clown.
Jolly. Okay.
He's riding in a tiny little cart.
Well, that cart is called a January cart.
Ah.
There was a standard act called a January act. The mule in it was named January, and it was slow as molasses in January, and it wouldn't go, and it would kick that plate in front of the clown until some magic word was said, and then it would move. This little wagon came from Lemon Brothers Circus.
Here's the Spark Sea Serpent Tableau.
The Spark Circus toured up and down the eastern seaboard, and was a very popular, very pleasant circus. It was called the Little Ringling Brothers. This particular wagon was also a ticket wagon one time.
Pulled along by 4 Percherons. Beautiful horses pulling these wagons.
And they are workhorses. They, some of the Percherons that we're going to see from Baraboo really do have some big jobs out there at the Circus World Museum.
Yes, they do. And Percherons were the typical horses for most circuses.
Oh, and here's the guy who has those tall jobs.
Yeah, he's from Milwaukee's high society, stilt walker Walter Never Falter Jankowski. Do you know, I don't know if you noticed as we first started showing him, we couldn't see his face
Look, he's tall
due to
as
the
that
branches
building.
of the trees. Yeah,
He's taller than the first Wisconsin building. Oh, no, it must be the angle of the
it's
camera. What do you
perspective.
think?
It's perspective, yes. He's a self-taught stilt walker.
He's also doing a little dodging along Wisconsin Avenue, as you might notice that here as some of the horses come by. They're leaving some gifts behind every once in a while.
There's the Terrell Jacobs pony cage wagon, miniature cage wagon with a quite recent history. Is that right, Tom?
Yes, it was built in the 40s for the V&H Circus, which lasted a very short time. Then the wagons went to the Terrell Jacobs Circus. Terrell Jacobs was a wild animal trainer and caliber of a Clyde Beatty. And Terrell had bad luck in trying to get his own show going, but he had these wagons as a start.
And what in the world do we have? We have a monkey in there, I see. I was trying to figure out what we had in the wagon. I was trying
He's
to get
hiding in a corner there.
Yes. It was supposed to have a leopard in there, so I guess they changed gears on that one.
And I'm sure the monkey didn't eat the leopard, right?
No, I don't think it could go that way. I'm not sure. Another look at our large crowd. I believe that the people from the circus parade were thinking they might get 1 million people here today.
You know, something we try to bring you everything going out on the street, but one of the funny things happening when the miniature wagon just passed by was the stilt walker entertaining the crowd as he was trying to walk between
Some of the droppings, yes.
I'm glad you said that, Kathy.
yes.
With all the animals, of course.
Some of the unusual
Yes.
mementos left behind.
He
by
almost
some
had
of
a
our
little
fine
accident.
Workhorses.
But with stilts, you can take big steps.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Dodge
true.
nearly anything.
That's true. Coming down the avenue now, one of Milwaukee's most popular and oldest youth bands. It's the Lake Band, now in its 37th year of operation. The director is Dennis King.
They're going to be playing Apollo by Carole King. I'm not sure if they'll play that. I think I might have misspoke on one of our earlier bands there and what their particular selection is going to be, but that's what they're telling us anyway, according to today's program.
Carole King is the march and band champion. He wrote more marches than anybody else, and it's just part and parcel of every band's repertoire.
And here we have Dennis King directing the band, and Carole King is the, I suppose that's probably a stretch to think there might be some relation there, but
I don't think they're likely to be.
well, he'll do some justice to the music anyway. Here
Well,
we
let's
go.
listen to it. Barnum and Bailey tableau cage wagon.
It's a two-phase, two-timing tableau, as I understand.
That's correct, and we're seeing the tableau side of it. On the other side is a cage opening.
Oh, is that right?
They did this so that when the cages were parked in the menagerie tent, the open side was to the view of the public. The other side then served double in a parade. There was no sense in having both sides of the cage open because there was never anybody on that side of the cage in the menagerie.
We seem to be having a little adjustments here with our horse hitch.
And there we see the other side.
Aha.
What do we have in there? Is it a cat, Kathy?
I think it's probably, I'm having a little trouble seeing. I'm
It's a
seeing
big
one
cat.
side of this particular animal, and I guess it is another one of those. It's a lion. My goodness
It's
gracious.
a big cat.
It's hard for me to see through that tableau, you know, which is, I have to put in my X-ray.
Well, see, yes, folks, we are actually right on the opposite side. So we're taking our cameraman Sean Down's word for it that there is actually, as you are, a lion.
I think we're just having a little bit of a hold up in the parade today as the horses get back to work out here.
And those are 6 Percheron horses pulling the cage wagon.
That's unique to see a wagon with the tableau on one side and the cage on the other.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, if we got a unique one coming up here. Cleopatra's Triumphal Procession. This is a first for the parade this year to see these particular wagons and carts and displays. And we got the working men on this particular one.
Leading the way is Cleopatra herself, riding in a canopied sedan chair created again by Peg Coburn and being carried by 2 ships of the desert.
This would have been one of Cleopatra's victory runs. Of course, her career didn't work out quite the way I suppose she would have expected, but this was in the heyday of Cleopatra.
She was popular in circus spectacles, and in this, I think some other plans didn't work quite out right because they were supposed to be camels carrying.
Oh, those were supposed to be camels? Well, and here's some people waving with a little clown nose on the real nose, I think. You know, and whenever people wave for the camera, it seems that they always say something to the effect of, you know, hi, Mom. Here are those camels we were talking about, Tom. They did make their way here.
Well, there are lots of camels in the parade this year, and very unique is the camel hitch. We'll see it pulling one of the wagons, and there are others that are carrying riders. It's very difficult to train camels to work in harness this way.
It says here that these are white camels and that they are tremendously rare and that there are only 10 of these in the entire country.
Well, on the front is Jimmy Hale and a white camel, and then we have the 6 beautiful princes, says,
Boy,
on 6 other camels.
What a great thing to be a princess and ride on a camel. My goodness.
And are you going to tell us, Tom, are those real princesses?
Oh, yes, every one of them.
Ah, yes.
Circus princesses.
Now, what would the princesses, the circus princesses of old, have to do when the parade wasn't necessarily parading around? They'd probably have to do some work, too.
Well, they were bareback riders, trapeze girls. They would be in the Liberty Horse Act. And they would have some other role in their performance.
Well, you're watching the 12 camel hitch that Tom you had mentioned earlier coming down, pulling the Temple tableau wagon. And behind that, Dr. Nicholas Muller, director of the State Historical Society of Wisconsin. And of course, the Circus World Museum is owned by the State Historical Society. Harold next to him, I believe.
And he gets to follow the princesses.
That beautiful camel hitch that went by.
That was tremendous. They were practicing it yesterday on the circus grounds when we were out there, and it seemed like they knew exactly what they were doing. Let's take a look at the Barnum and Bailey wagon. Now, why in the world are we calling this?
Well, that got the name of Bristol. That people familiar with mythology would talk about the labors of Hercules by those wood carvings.
It's like we have a tiger inside today.
A woman, too, I just want to point out.
Oh, yeah. I saw that,
Kay
Kathy.
Rosaire.
Believe it or not, I saw that.
I mean, she's inside. Getting a dental exam or something?
Well, she's Kay Rosaire from a British circus family, and these are her cats in several cages. The wild animal trainer.
Wow. And a juggling clown we have here, followed up by
The English section leaders now. 2 riders signal the start of the English section, which was created to call attention to the growing numbers of wagons in the Circus World Museum collection that originally appeared with English circuses.
Good to see you. Everybody having a wonderful time? Yeah!
Good to see you, Jimbo. Or is that Jumbo? No, it's Jimbo. The clowns are great.
Yeah.
Spaced throughout the parade just to keep everybody happy and entertained.
Oh, and here's Jumbo. Oops. That was Jimbo, too.
That was Jimbo.
This has been called the British section, and it was quite typical of circus parades to be divided into sections like this. We'll see later, or earlier, a children's section.
And then the end of the parade, of course, we'll have the USA section.
Now you notice we were looking at 8 Percherons who are in single file. We've been watching horses mainly doubled up as they draw the wagons. This is a single file pulling the Bostock and Whomever Menagerie bandwagon.
So Bostock and Whomever, was it a pretty big circus?
Well, it was in England and toured for a very long time. The Bostock name was, in particular, was in existence for a very long time, and was a pioneer in the menagerie business. The hitch, where they have these horses in a single file, is a problem. Where you have horses hitched in different patterns is a name for it, but nobody knows the name for this many horses in a single file.
And what we're seeing also is a shell-style wagon, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Now this is believed to be the oldest circus bandwagon in existence, is it not?
Yes, it's very old, and it appeared in the parade for the first time last year.
Following here is the Gladiator telescoping tableau.
This is a beautiful wagon.
It is tremendous. We were talking about a telescoping tableau before. It's a remarkable thing. It's like an escalator or an elevator.
This is where they have gears inside that pull the central parts up high, and they're extended this way for parades, and then when the circus would move from town to town, those upper parts would be withdrawn into the body of the wagon.
Talk about detail. This is one of the more incredible ones with the carvings and everything.
Extremely ornate.
We've seen the mention of Sethby, Howe's Great London, and Sethby Howe saw English wagons and came back and added that kind of feature to our own circus parades.
And behind that is the Royal Mail Coach, one of 5 restored wagons from the Sir Robert Fawcett Circus of
We
England.
delivered mail on Sunday.
Very good, Kathy.
The English had
I'm expecting a paycheck. I think maybe they might have. Now this is a wonderful, wonderful sight. This is the Sicilian Festival cart, I believe. Or no, actually, this is the Star Tableau. I'm sorry, there's a star on top, a human star.
This is another of those ornate wagons that we just looked at from England.
Looks like a wedding cake.
Yes, the lady atop the wagon is Kathy Hayes, who performs daily at the Circus World Museum with the Zoppy Hayes Riders. Or is it the Zoppy Hayes Riders?
You can say Zoppy.
No, let's not get into Calliope Calliope.
Mr. Zoppy called it Zope.
Oh, okay.
Followed up again by another one of our. Is this another telescoping
yes,
tableau that we see here?
Even higher than the others.
Now we're looking at the Twin Lions telescoping wagon. God, these are beautiful wagons.
Again, you might imagine those passing through some little English village before anything this ornate was seen in any other medium.
I bet some people might even say, gosh, could that be real gold on the side of those wagons? Well,
And for that matter, it is gold leaf.
well, is it most of it gold leaf?
Yeah.
Now, as far as keeping these wagons all in the fine shape that they are, that's almost got to be a daily job, I can imagine, especially after one of these events.
There was a crew of ladies at the lakefront going over them with detergent the other day.
I thought you were going to say with a fine-tooth comb.
Well, they might have had that in their pocket.
And here comes the Circus Mounted Band. Back in the 19th century, circuses such as Adam Forepaugh and Ringling Brothers had bands on horseback as one of their parade attractions. So here the Great Circus Parade presents its own Circus Mounted Band. folks.
one thing to see a band, and
Yes.
it's one thing to see horses, but to see a band
Yes.
on horseback is pretty amazing.
And just in case folks didn't notice, the 16-piece band includes cornets, euphoniums, altoniums, a tuba, a piccolo, a snare drum, and a bass drum, just in case you didn't see that.
For some
And
of those,
here's-
it's hard to find the instrument and also hard to find the players.
And here is the fellow who did put Ernest Borgnine's makeup on,
Yes.
and we met him earlier, Keith.
Here's the start of the Wild West section. Wild West section leaders, of course. Two riders telling the crowd the Wild West section of the Great Circus Parade is about to begin. And you know, also, Dennis Dean's going to be coming along shortly, isn't he?
I understand, yes. He's going to be looking pretty good. You know, you got to wonder if this parade's big enough for jolly old England and the Wild West. Apparently it is. And even if you couldn't read the signs, you could see the outfits and understand that we were sort of changing gears here as we continue
A
our
troop
look
of
at the...
Western characters. Many of those you just saw were riders from Western days in West Dallas.
Here are the Wild West Cowboys.
This is the Pawnee Bill bandwagon, one of the largest circus wagons ever built. 21 feet long, 12 and a half feet high. And, yeah, I guess you'd have to say those 8 horses are pulling 6 tons. 6 tons of wagons. Of wagon, I should say.
Kathy, earlier you spoke about the care that somebody in past years must have given to the preservation of wagons. And there are several show people that have had a distinct role in making sure this one survives.
That is tremendous.
It says here that it's sometimes, this wagon is sometimes referred to as the wagon with a haircut.
Yes, you'll notice that there's in the skyboard there's a carving, and it depicted a long-haired cowboy named Pawnee Bill. But when Ernest Haig bought it for the Mighty Haig Circus, he cut the curls off. He didn't like long hair.
Oh, no, and check out this. You wouldn't want to cut the horns off of one of these, or you'd be in
No.
major trouble, because in front of this covered wagon, you are about to see some of the strongest horsepower. I suppose I shouldn't say horsepower that we're going
Animal
to see
power.
throughout the...
Oxen
Yes.
pulling a covered wagon, a real Wild West 101 ranch covered wagon.
I believe I hear the infantry coming.
Or the 5th Wisconsin Volunteer Fife and Drum Corps, one or the other.
This is obviously Civil War times that we're listening to the music we hear. The color guard is actually carrying hand-sewn regulation flags. And I think if we listen real closely, we can hear their rendition of a Civil War tune. Donkeys, and they're pulling quite a wagon. 10 miniature donkeys, as a matter of fact, pulling the Terrell Jacobs pony cage wagon. Terrell, of course, is the fellow we were talking about before, who was a lion tamer.
We spoke earlier about his being a wild animal trainer, and he lost an eye from cracking a whip.
Oh, not from a lion or a tiger?
No,
from the old whip, huh?
he had a few scars from that too, but he worked with one eye. He was famous enough that he was hired as an endorsement for cigarettes at that time.
Now, Tom, I know I ask you this year after year. Are these miniature donkeys or baby donkeys? Are they miniature horses or?
I think that these are miniatures. I don't think that they get a whole lot larger.
So this is that breed of donkey.
And then, of course, riding in style here.
A cute monkey of some variety.
Apparently, the donkeys decided they wanted to move a little faster. You can't imagine our tremendous camera crew that's out here chasing by the side of these carts. Congratulations to Mr. Burhoff for making that work.
Well, here comes one of the wagons that we've been waiting for. It's a Calliope, an air Calliope wagon. Of course, later we'll hear the steam Calliope.
This one was with the Ken Maynard Wild West show, and it had a distinct point in history of never having gotten out of its winter quarters. It performed 2 weekends and then went broke.
Oh, no.
It's powered by a gasoline-driven air compressor.
And we are glad it's here today. My goodness gracious. 2 weeks and goes broke. How much do you think it would cost to start up a circus today?
Well, it had cost, I've likened that to buying a farm.
Okay.
And so that the price of farmland and a medium-sized circus would have some correlation.
Oh my, so it's certainly a lot. And as far as trying to make wagons like this that we're seeing here during this parade, they're irreplaceable, and I don't know if they could even be imitated.
You couldn't do that at all. But a circus on the road now is advertised for sale at $4.5 million.
Oh my.
That may be bigger than most farms.
And that's just the startup cost. Then you have to hire all your employees. And here comes a band of Native American Indians. Wisconsin does have a very strong Native American heritage. The names of many of our cities and villages, of course, are from Indian names. We have, in this particular group, the Menominee, the Potawatomi, and Chippewa and Winnebago.
There's a very strong role for the American Indian in circus history as well, and they began appearing in circuses as early as the 1830s. By the 1890s, 1910 period, they were a major part of the Wild West show movement.
But you know what these Native American Indians have done to weathermen who have to talk about all those towns? Like our Oconomowoc.
Oh, it does make it a little rough, I suppose, sometimes.
Not at all, not at all.
John, this is one of your favorites, I think.
This is the Orcus Melkor wagon. Beautiful horses out in front, 6 Clydesdales.
It's kind of an odd word. I think somebody must have made that up.
Again, it's like having 8 horses on a wagon that needed 2. It was a fancy word to attract the attention of the population. They didn't know what they were going to see. And at the outset, it had a steam-powered organ in it.
Oh.
And that's what they were trying to call this Orcus Melkor. Initially, it only had the bottom half, and then the other part was built later. The bottom half dates back to about 1868.
And on top, you see some Native American Indians, members of the United Indians of Milwaukee. They represent the Chippewa, the Cherokee, the Oneida, and the Potawatomi.
Another tremendous band. We haven't seen a band in a little while, at least. This is the Cossack band, I believe. Tremendous, tremendous uniforms. They are out of, actually, their uniforms were made by the wardrobe mistress at the Circus World Museum.
You know, our television station, Channel 12 WISN TV, sponsored this band during the City of Festivals Parade.
Now, when you are the Cossack band, you are actually some other band. You are indeed here the honor of being the particular Circus Parade band goes to a Whitnall High School band.
Right.
Greenfield, Wisconsin.
is the Sells Float Oak Leopard Cage Wagon. Sells Float Oak Circus used this wagon as a leopard cage from 1908 until the early 1920s.
It supposedly contains one savage man-eating tiger. I guess I'd be safe then, right?
The bars are... This looks like a lion, though.
Yeah, I know, but, well, we changed billing here. We've got a
That's
lion
right.
here. So I guess that's a man-eating lion.
Well, they can't eat men, I guess. I've heard that. I've seen Tarzan movies. I guess that's true, Kathy. You know, the bars are close together, so they say, to prevent the lightning-fast cats from injuring spectators. Yeah. And to keep them inside, also, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a couple of men over here, Mr. Lion. No, I guess he's not interested here.
The bars
He's still looking here.
Oh, well,
He's still looking
he
at
does
us.
seem to be looking at us, but we're going to take a look now at the Lion and Tiger tableau. And once again, it's called a tableau because you're going to basically see a painting of a lion instead of the real thing, and also a tiger right next door. Yes, I do know the difference. I was only...
Now, is there a cage on the other side of this one that we're not seeing?
No, but initially the whole thing was a cage on the Ringling Circus, and then it was sold as used equipment to smaller shows, and they converted it to a tableau wagon by putting these paintings and carvings on the side.
Followed up by the Schlitz bandwagon.
Now, this is not a restored wagon, as most wagons are in this parade?
This was created in particular for the Schlitz Brewing Company at the time that they sponsored this parade in its earlier years. And at one year, it was pulled by a 40-horse hitch.
And it's
also
also...
we're going to see another 40-horse hitch of historic proportions tonight.
Now, wait a minute. It's being pulled by Clydesdales.
It does kind of look like that, doesn't it?
And I thought, oh, never mind. We don't want to get into commercial stuff. The Budweiser thing came by, the wagon.
Oh.
Well, there were Clydesdales before there was Budweiser, though, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so,
yeah,
Kathy.
I think I'm just kidding over there to our audience out there.
We're looking at the Howe's Cage wagon.
And yes,
ferocious looking bear. This was built in the 1920s for the Howe's Great London Circus, which, despite its name, was an American circus.
Yes, it was owned by a man named Seth B. Howes, who was a great Anglophile and just loved everything about England, and that's why we had a lot of the things that we have in circus parades. He called it the Great London Circus, and in fact, he did have it in London. It was a title that was bought and sold. A whole lot of different showmen bought that show, the name, and used it at different times.
And there's
the bear looks happy.
Yeah, he does look very happy now. We're going to take a look at the Charging Tiger tableau, and there's
Somebody
another
up there looks
fellow
happy,
up there. We're going to see Dennis Dean in all his regalia as he was preparing earlier for his debut on an actual circus wagon. I wonder if Dennis can hear us.
How's it going, Dennis?
It's a situation on board the circus parade. This is the Charging Tiger tableau.
And there's our Dennis.
This is the situation on board the Charging Tiger tableau. I'll tell you something. This is an interesting ride up here. Dick McAllister, you've been on circuses a long time. Have you ridden a wagon like this before?
Oh yes, I sure have several times, but not with this big a crowd as enthusiastic as they are.
This is kind of a bumpy ride here, but it's great fun. I'll tell you, so far, Kathy and John, I've been counting the spectators, and I think I'm up to about 127,337, 38 so far. We've been counting together, and that's the situation here. It's an enjoyable ride.
I didn't know you had such a great head for figures there, Dennis.
I've seen some wonderful circus parades before in the past, but from this point of view, it is absolutely phenomenal.
Well, we envy you up there.
This is probably the sort of view that Dennis is getting right now, because he can look down the avenue and see what is coming right behind. And what we are seeing is the Burlington High School band. Make that the Patriot band.
Yeah, they may have made a change in the lineup here.
It's my understanding that they moved the Patriot band to this point.
And they have every right to move things around every once in a while.
Look at that scene, though. Look, is that
indeed
Milwaukee or what? I mean, you've got the
gorgeous.
parade coming up Wisconsin Avenue as it makes the turn. You've got the lake with sailboats in the background, and that is what this is all about. Just a gorgeous day, a gorgeous lake, a great city, and a great circus parade.
Great view.
You're right, Tom. It is the Patriots Marching Band now coming up the Wisconsin Avenue, a band that's making its first appearance in the Great Circus Parade. group itself was formed just last year.
That's remarkable.
It's about 150 people in the band. They come from 4 Minneapolis suburban school districts.
I hope they play for us.
Oh, they will.
You think so?
Oh, definitely. This band has entered 3 marching competitions in the Minneapolis area, took first place in all 3. I'm looking forward to this.
Hit it.
The drums are almost thunderous also. This is the Kangaroo Tableau wagon, painting of a kangaroo on each side of this wagon, built sometime after 1910 for the Gallmer Brothers Circus.
Now, how do you go about researching these wagons? You have to find somebody who actually worked on it, or old pictures, or what kind
Old
of things?
pictures do a lot of it. I saw this wagon in a winter quarters abandoned some years ago, and my wife was deathly afraid I was going to tow it home. And it was in bad repair then. It had been stored in South Houston, Texas for some years.
We're looking at a high-class clown. This is Gary Soule of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, very popular high-class clown in many, many of the parades around the area. Gary is using stilts that he bought in 1970 from a retiring performer of a circus.
You know, I bet your wife had many a fear when you run across old circus wagons. Like, for instance, I don't know if you've ever seen this one before, but you wouldn't mind having that one in the backyard.
Oh, that would be fine in our backyard.
It's the Robbins
It'd have to
Brothers
be
cage
way
wagon.
back.
And you got some exotic birds generally flying around in this particular wagon, but we don't know the origin of this one. Here's one of those that it's just kind of a mystery.
This is a cross cage that was loaded sideways in the train.
Oh, okay. It's a little smaller than some of the ones we were seeing before.
There was one circus that had 51 of these little cages in order to have a bigger number than anybody else.
Oh, there was that sort of one-upsmanship
Oh, my,
going on?
yes.
Ah, yes.
And exotic birds inside. A roadster cart. And paving, this little roadster cart paves the way for the spectacular 40-horse hitch, which is coming up very, very shortly. I see short in front of me here. Short cart, short guy, short horse.
This little horse weighs about, well, I guess is it a horse or is it have we figured this out, a baby horse, a miniature horse? But it weighs only about 225 pounds now compared to some of those horses we're going to see in that 40-horse hitch. Those weigh like about, I guess, 2,000 pounds a piece.
Yeah,
these are full-grown horses. They're not ponies.
They are.
These are.
That's amazing to me. Now, what would have been the use for miniature horses except for just to create kind of a
I think that's
stunt
it. I
horse?
think that it's a showmanship thing. One interesting point about the ponies as well as the miniature horses that we see is that on a circus they would be the pony drill. They would perform little performances do a little act in the circus.
That was a chuck wagon cart. And next to that, the Surrey cart. A mini chuck wagon. I can't get much food out of one of those chuck wagons, I guess.
They really, it is almost, it's kind of amazing that we saw the stilt walker first, and then all of a sudden we see these little miniature horses. It's quite a contrast.
Now there's a miniature mare and foal.
They say at birth a miniature horse actually weighs between 12 and 20 pounds. So they're really very tiny and, and I mean like 17 inches long on average. Absolutely incredible.
Look at the mare and foal.
Oh my goodness. I've got a little kid next to me going, oh, look at those little horses. Okay,
well, you've been waiting for it.
Grand sight of the parade today for sure. It is the 40-horse hitch. We're getting a good long view of it right now.
You certainly are. You're getting the 40-horse hitch just as it comes around the corner into Wisconsin Avenue.
And of course, it's drawing the best, biggest, most beautiful bandwagon that ever came down this street or any other.
We've got more information, of course, on the 40-horse hitch, so let's pass that on to you folks right now.
In 1904 was the last year that the Two Hemispheres wagon was pulled by 40 horses. And it was in August of 1904, I think August 6th, I'm not sure. Went right down Wisconsin Avenue. And here we're doing it again, 1989. Same wagon.
Okay, I'm trying to keep track of how many horses there are here. It's advertised as a 40-horse hitch. I just want to make sure that there are 40 horses.
Now, there are 40 Belgian horses, right?
Well,
they brought 46 in case that they had to make any spares.
Oh,
and
really?
They have 5 outriders, so the Sparrows brought 51 horses to do this.
Goodness gracious.
Another point of interest is that alongside the rear wheel of the Two Hemispheres will be a person that kind of unidentified, but he's the one who brought the wagon here for us. He's going along just to watch his wagon.
Now, this is something that we used to see, or was supposedly seen 85 years ago, as far as these horses carrying this very same wagon that we're seeing here.
That's correct. In 1904, Barnum and Bailey had this wagon.
Listen to the ovation.
Yeah, the people just love this event. These horses are orderly and in unison.
Everybody's running after these horses with cameras, and I don't know, you know, maybe the Two Hemispheres wagon is getting sort of, you know, the back burner treatment here today.
And that's a shame because it's such a spectacular wagon and really is the best, biggest wagon of all. It was done by, the carving was done by people who are highly recognized now by folk art people in museums. Samuel Robb was a great carver, and he was responsible for much of that wagon.
And really, it was built specifically for the wagon, or for the parade.
This is the MBT Taiko Group Japanese Drum Troupe from Chicago, Illinois.
And taiko is actually the word for drum, big drum.
Well, that was the first time that they were in the Great Circus Parade. Maybe the first time for some of these folks watching the Great Circus Parade. We hope it's not the first time you folks out there are watching Channel 12 for
As we sort
your
of scan
coverage.
the crowd, you could see some people, you know, kind of, you know, stretching. And, some of those people have probably been here for a long period of time.
Sure. You wonder whether some of the little tykes that have been here a long time overnight, maybe with their parents might have fallen asleep by now, or maybe they got here by dawn.
I would love to see that one poor person who ends up sleeping through the parade after staying up all night to keep a seat. It really would be horrible. It would be sort of humorous to see. And here is the Asia tableau. Kind of a unique, as we saw earlier in the Two Hemispheres.
They were built for the same parade in 1903-1904 by Barnum and Bailey. And it had a little bit different design, but there was one wagon for each of the continents, and only a couple of them had survived.
Was this the biggest of all the wagons, then, being that it was representing Asia?
No, I think that it's got the little
by the,
panels on the side for each of the countries. some of those countries have changed names or geography, and
Oh, certainly.
the boundaries have all changed. That was true particularly of the two hemispheres, where during World War I they changed some of the names on the crest there.
Will they update the names then, or will they leave them as they are?
Well, they've been returned by the
I've
circus.
seen some. Yeah.
Ceylon now is Sri Lanka.
On top are members of the Chinese American Club of Milwaukee in native Chinese costume. And there's another native ethnic cart, Sicilian festival cart.
This is actually, this particular cart is actually owned by a fellow who lives around here. Owns a restaurant, and his dream was to have his very own wagon, and one day that dream came true, and he likes to show off his dream just about every year here at the Circus Parade.
It's the Royal Italian Bandwagon.
Ah, yes. Not really an Italian song they're playing.
I was going to say, I don't recognize it.
It's the Billboard March.
Yeah.
That's the Mel Hummich shit. Hummich? How do you say that? Help me out. Mel Hummich.
Yeah.
Clown band from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Doing a great job.
I don't know. That's a tough one. That's very tough. And here's Joan of Arc, another very popular character, well, real-life person that made her way into circus history herself, because there was kind of a love of history and circuses before we got into circus and history.
That's true. Because they had big spectacles as the initial program, to launch a program, they had big spectacles, and one of them was Joan of Arc that Ringling used about 1916.
And you also see mounted knights in shining armor from the same era. They're portraying Knights of St. John's, Regal Army of Royal France. Guess we should let you know also, though, they are members of the Crystal Creek Riders of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin.
I imagine that armor is a little warm to wear.
Yeah, that is. Coming up now is the bandwagon from France. Could it be the France bandwagon that we see here? Yes.
That was one of a series of bandwagons built in 1919 for a circus that spent all its money on wagons and then couldn't survive on the road.
Oh, no.
It was built as a pioneer motorized circus, and then it was sold after it failed to the other circuses who converted the trucks to wagons.
And the 6 horses pulling it from our Belgian horses from Roland Ruby, very famous in Brookfield, Wisconsin. Now you notice the wagon stopped for just a second.
Isn't that just the best timing?
Yes. Well, why don't we go take care of a couple of bits of business here, and we'll come right back with the Great Circus Parade. Stay with us.
America loves the hometown team and a chance to laugh and yell and scream. America loves a young kid's dream, and America loves its big boy.
And you'll love our new fresh summer specials, like grilled shrimp salad, tangy barbecue chicken with fresh garden salad, and leave room for fresh strawberry, blueberry, and Door County cherry desserts.
America loves its big boy.
You are not going to believe this place. You okay, dear?
You'll find the land of sky blue waters in every Hams.
Hams will feel refreshing. Hams.
Register to win an Alaskan fishing trip and prizes from Daiwa and Igloo. Sweepstakes details at participating stores where Hams is sold.
Today, Kunzelman Esser invites you and your family to enjoy the Great Circus Parade. Kunzelman Esser, Milwaukee's largest fine furniture store, is proud to be a major contributor in bringing it back to Milwaukee. Tomorrow, we're celebrating by giving you the greatest furniture sale on earth. Kunzelman Esser's big July furniture clearance sale, featuring the greatest circus of values ever assembled under one roof.
Kunzelman Esser.
Mitchell at South 7th.
The furniture people.
Before I buy anything, I do my homework. Really shop around. Why is everyone comparing themselves to Toyota? So I checked out the magazines. Turns out Toyota is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year and a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. I knew exactly which truck I wanted, but get this, the timing was perfect. My dealers got specially priced options packages plus factory-to-dealer incentives. I saved a bundle. Grand slam.
Toyota,
I love it.
who could ask for anything more?
We are back, and if you think you're seeing a lot of gold in this particular wagon, be aware we're looking at the field of the cloth of gold. Stretches for about a block, and it involves some 58 people out here.
This features characters portraying the kings and queens of France and England, riding in regal carriages, attended by armored knights and flamboyant ladies. Their entourage also includes men of the court on horseback, plus pages, jesters, and servants on foot.
An unusual summit.
Of a Ringling performance in 1905 and 6.
Now, they did this last year first.
Yes.
Was this not a new feature last year in the parade?
This was featured last year as well.
What's the history behind the horses wearing the hoods or the whatever it is that they have over there?
I think that's left over from armor. It was like to prevent injury to the horse.
Well, that was nice that they thought of
It
it.
was mail.
Oh, you mean
chain.
Oh, I thought you were saying they were protecting the horse if it was male.
Well, no, they
but if it
protected
was
all
female,
horses, but
okay, that's good. I'm happy
but
to hear
these were there was a suit of armor like chain links.
And let's take a look now.
Well, you know, this
Another
must
one
be
of
a
our
real challenge to Peg Coburn, who again is mentioned as
Oh,
having a lot to do with the costumes of the field of cloth of gold.
She's going to be a very difficult woman to replace if she ever decides to leave the costuming business. Because just take a look at all the work that must go into these various costumes. Every single one of them has an ornate look to it, and the headdresses and everything. It's just really astounding. And they get a lot of wear and tear, I suppose, too, on the back of a horse here.
Building costumes is much more complicated than than making a dress.
Oh, I'm sure it is, yeah.
Wardrobe people speak about building it rather than sewing it or making it or something. They build it.
Well, the 8 Clydesdales you just saw are pulling the Columbia bandwagon, which has a long and distinguished history dating back to 1902 when it was built for the Four-Paw Cells Circus.
And it was built in Baraboo, Wisconsin by the Miller Brothers Wagon Factory. These Miller Brothers were cousins of the Ringlings.
I noticed it's called a ticket wagon. Now, this was pretty good advertising. It's such a good-looking wagon. Everybody wanted to go and take a look at it. So then, you know, there's your opportunity to say, hey, buy a ticket to the circus now, you know?
And it served 2 purposes. It appeared in the parade, and they went back to the showgrounds and served as a ticket wagon. They sold reserved seat tickets out of the back of it.
And those are some great reserved seats on top of any of the wagons that we see here. Here's the St. George and the Dragon wagon. Say that 10 times.
I think it would be a little too hard for me to say that very quickly.
Now, some of the, well, I guess that virtually everything we see on top of this wagon is actually made of wood, except for the driver, thank goodness. Because,
I think all of it's made of wood by a Wisconsin wood carver.
Oh, wonderful.
And it duplicates the original of this style, which was the top piece of the line and mirror bandwagon we saw very early in the parade.
That is tremendous. Now, for that to travel, I would think that that would be a nightmare of whoever it was that was in charge of making sure that all the parts of the wagon stay on the right wagon.
The original would have telescoped down inside another wagon.
Well, we've got 8 ponies now in front of us, and they're pulling the Norris and Rowe Circus Tally-Ho wagon. It was small and is a very small bandwagon. And I guess the Norris and Rowe Circus was a small and not very wealthy circus also.
It had a really rough history. Its wagon was used by the Bareback family, and the family would ride this in parade.
Now, here's what every circus needs, whether it's a small circus, a large circus. You might need more of these if you're a very big
Well,
circus.
we will get more of these at the end.
Yes, yes. Gosh, you know, I don't know. Did Dennis have a choice between riding in that one-man wagon he was on and perhaps employing his service as one of these fine
Well, we'll
fellows
work on
who
that
take
for
care of
next
us?
year,
Let's see
yes.
if we can get, he did a good job, though. I
Yes.
think we'll leave him on a wagon.
There's the Great Britain band wagon. 1903, the Ringling Brothers had the Bodie Wagon Works of Cincinnati construct this massive parade wagon.
It was modified at one time to be called the Wisconsin wagon.
Oh, really?
And then returned to its original form.
Which is now sort of the John Bull wagon. We see the typical Englishman look here with the top hat and the neckcloth, the waistcoat and all. Apparently, you know. What did they do to it when they wanted to make it into a Wisconsin wagon?
Well, mostly they put a different sign at the base of it.
They just changed the sign?
They just changed Great Britain to Wisconsin. They did this during World War I. And then they had the girls in military-style uniforms, sailor suits and the like, right at the top of it. At one time, it had a different design, so that where the number on it is now, with the 100, it extended out a little bit.
Oh, sure.
And with a different silhouette, but that's been modified now.
And I guess you point out, too, that, yes, the circus parade is here in Milwaukee, but Wisconsin has a tremendous circus history. Baraboo itself.
And other circuses have started in this city and state as well.
That was Lee Matthews. Lee Matthews' Great Circus Band in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to be exact. Really did a good job. Maybe they'll play another tune for us. You know, we're kind of held up here right now with the Great Britain band wagon. And it's interesting to watch how some of the leaders off to the side, which we don't show too much, are help get the hitches put together. What do you call these guys officially who ride alongside? Outriders?
Outriders.
And they did a great job. They got the hitch right back together and they're on their way.
And following here is the Hutchinson cage tableau. And, you know, many of these tableaus are getting their names from the various circuses that they... Who is this Hutchinson guy that they've got listed here with Barnum and Bailey?
P.T. Barnum wrote his biography, and Hutchinson had the rights to sell it. He made so much money, he bought a share in the show.
Somehow or other. What was Hutchinson's first name? I was looking here somewhere. I think it was Max or something.
Well, there was let's see, I think it was Fred.
Oh, Fred? Okay, so old Fred was in it for a little while.
And then his sons stayed with the show for a very, very long time.
Now, if you noticed the horses, this is called a unicorn hitch. They're Belgian horses, but called a unicorn hitch. They've got the spiked headdress, I guess, is that?
Well, it's because there's one out in front and two behind. It's a triangular thing.
And it's also one of our, again, our mirrored wagons that we see. It's sort of the picture frame wagon, they say, because you could actually probably, we should have done it when it went by. We all could have looked in one of those mirrors, and it would have been like we would have had our picture on the side of that wagon, you know?
You know, pomp and royalty and lots of color were always important elements in creating the spectacle for which circus parades are noticed. An example of this are these proud ladies that we just saw, side saddle ladies of the ring.
Lovely costumes again. I imagine the work of Peg Coburn, who's, well, here we got some frisky little movement here. With
frisky Clydesdales with the picture frame cage wagon.
In the history of wagons, this was among the most difficult for us to identify, and it took us many years to discover that this had a history dating back to the Frank A. Robbins circus.
And there's a couple of pictures, you know, of the cat family we've been talking about earlier. A couple of tigers. They seem to be moving together.
Almost choreographed pacing, yes.
The tigers
Beautiful
are from Sarasota, Florida, I understand.
That's Kay Rosaire's Wild Animal Act. You'll recall also that the nostrils of the horses are treated with mentholatum so that they don't smell the tigers and get nervous.
Oh, I suppose it could make you a little nervous with a tiger in the back of your...
I guess we should also mention some of the other preparations they're doing with the bridges and the overpasses and over the river. They're covering up.
There's at a drawbridge, there's a piece of steel that goes across the street, and the horses are inclined to shy or spook when they see that. I was on a wagon.
Did you say?
Spook, to be frightened. And I was on a wagon in an early parade when they did just that. Since then, they've now come along and covered all those steel things in the morning of the parade.
Oh, that's great then, because it makes it a little easier. Boy, it would make it easier for the bands, too. And
Yes.
here is the patriotic section leaders, and they're going to play for us.
And here comes a very patriotic tableau wagon, the Betsy Ross tableau wagon. This unit is referred to as a living tableau.
It's a living tableau, and that part of the design is a person. And Carol Skornica of Madison is taking the role of Betsy Ross here. She's active in the Circus World Museum Board of Directors.
And the flags on this particular wagon are the 13 star flags. 9 of them, to be exact. And on the side, of course, the grand old flag and Betsy Ross on top. Here comes the beauty tableau.
At the time this was used, it probably had no such name. It was
You don't think so?
named that way later because somebody looked at the beauty and the girl that's carved in wood in the center of that and nicknamed it that. But I doubt if the show people that really used it the first time around ever had such an idea. It would just be one more, it'd be number 22 or something.
It would be nice if they named some of these wagons after the actual wood carvers who did so much of the work that we see here today and really are sort of anonymous. Do they ever sign their work? Is there any way we can look on a wagon and see it?
Yes.
A signature?
In the recreation, the restoration of one, they found the artist's name under the paint.
Oh, they did? So he was actually going to...
Another good band coming up Wisconsin Avenue. This is the United States Navy Band under the direction of chief musician Charles Clark. The Navy Band, Great Lakes. Let's listen to them.
Our country tableau. Certainly a wonderful musical introduction by the United States Navy Band as we take a look at some of our presidents, I believe. These are lookalikes of presidents. Perhaps you could try to pick them out. We're going to have a lookalike of Abraham Lincoln, William McKinley, Ulysses S. Grant, and the father of our country, Mr. George Washington. Well, I can pick out Abe.
Yes,
and
and Teddy Roosevelt.
You can see it. I'm not sure who's supposed to really look like Teddy Roosevelt up there, though. I need more of a mustache and a... All right, now coming up here,
This is the Adam Forepaugh Show Stringer Wagon. And on top...
We got a couple of elephants on the back of
on the wagon itself. Right? It's a first.
Cowboy hats.
These are baby African elephants trained by the daughter of Lou Jacobs, the clown, who is standing there with the elephants. And they perform at the Circus World Museum this season. The Stringer wagon carried the stringers that were part of the grandstand seating. And then it doubled in parade for special purposes such as this.
And did you notice the little bows on the back of those elephants? They had
now you look through the trees down Wisconsin Avenue and you see a herd of elephants
my.
coming up the street.
I hope they're in this parade because, my goodness, if these are just a stray herd of elephants
We're
that
in
just
trouble.
found their way here. Yep, they're in my book. Thank goodness, Milwaukee.
Like those clowns
we're safe.
you spoke about
That's
that just
right.
got in.
We just haven't had a couple elephants who decided they just wanted to be in a parade, so they
Nope, they were
booked
there
their
all the
flight to
time,
Milwaukee.
Kathy. Now these come from the combined herds of Bobby Moore of New Baltimore, Michigan, and Bucky Steele of Seagoville, Texas, and Tommy Hanford of the Royal Hanford Circus of Sarasota, Florida.
The Royal Hanford Circus has been performing at the lakefront for the last several days.
So is this tail to trunk thing that we see here with elephants lined up there? Obviously, they're not doing it right now, but is that something natural that they just...
No, I don't think it's natural. I think that it was largely to keep the elephants from reaching out with their trunk. It was to keep the trunk busy so that it wouldn't reach out and grab a mailbox
trunk
or
someone.
something. You're right. Right.
And they're very instinctive when they do that. They reach out for the tail very instinctively with their trunks.
The tips of their trunks have fingers, two fingers that can untie knots and do all kinds of amazing
They
things.
can untie knots?
In the winter quarters, they'll learn how to untie the knot and get loose and walk around.
Oh, my. Do you believe that, John?
I'm having a hard time, to be honest with you, but I believe everything Tom tells me.
Stay with me.
Can they open peanut shells, too?
Oh, they don't need that. They swallow the whole thing.
Do they take the whole thing?
Oh, yeah.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Tom, what else can we learn from you about elephants?
Do elephants really have this great memory that they're supposed to have?
I don't think they do that. There are stories about trainers who come to an elephant after 20 years and the elephant recognizes him.
Well, take a look at our crowd. I bet they're going to remember this for at least 20 years that they were out here at this Great Circus Parade.
Oh, definitely.
I'm going to remember it. I think it's just been a fantastic experience.
This is a marvelous edition of the parade.
Yes, it has been a great parade so far. We have seen these, you and I and Kathy, we've seen these wagons year after year now, and they're just exciting every time they come by. And they always have new elements to them, or new riders, or new animals in the cages, and it just continues to make the Circus Parade one great parade year after year.
That's part of circus history, too. Everything's got to be bigger and better and newer every year.
The one-upsmanship you were talking about, except for really the Great Circus Parade has to beat itself every year because it's the one and only.
There's no other competition.
I don't know how they're going to beat that 40-horse hitch.
That was tremendous.
Spectacular. And more elephants coming down the avenue now. This must be the second of the 5 herds. Is that, or am I...
Yeah, I wasn't counting how many herds.
Circuses advertised elephants in units or herds, and they would say 3 herds of elephants.
Oh, that's right.
And they decided that maybe 1 was a herd.
Oh, one elephant is a herd. Well, one soldier is a troop.
Well, if it was an act by itself, let's call it a herd. And so that they could advertise 3 herds because they had elephants in each of 3 rings.
1 line of storms is a squall.
There you go.
Et cetera, et cetera.
I don't know. I can't come up with any more. I don't know. Riding an elephant.
It looks comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, I've never done it, but it's quite an experience because there's much more lateral motion than one realizes. And also an elephant has pretty much of a bristle. It's like black hair. And you can see some of that, but to ride that is kind of abrasive.
I have to ask you this now, Tom. We're looking at 2 different types of elephants here, are we not? There are small-eared elephants and large-eared.
Yes, the small-eared elephants are Indians, and the African has his ears flapping out.
Is that an African right there with the large ears?
That's correct.
You know what's amazing about these elephants is they're so quiet when they walk. When we hear the horses come by, they're all wearing their shoes, but the elephants are just like...
So Dumbo in Walt Disney was an African elephant.
Oh.
Because he had those large ears, right?
They have different numbers of toes, too.
See, kids, you learn something from Tom Parkinson. Well, excuse me. That's one of my favorites.
I liked him, too. A lot of these wagons actually were owned at one time or another by the Walt Disney Productions.
Yes, they were bought for a circus that was done at Disneyland very early in Disneyland's career. At the time the Circus World Museum was founded, I made up a list of where a lot of wagons were. Yes. And then Chappie Fox went down that list and acquired them all.
We just saw the lakefront just a second ago, and those folks, there weren't that many boats out on the lake as you would normally see on a Sunday afternoon. I wonder how many of the folks who are generally in boats are out here in the crowd this afternoon watching the circus parade. And
look what's coming here, the ALG, or the Al-G Barnes Elephant Tableau Wagon.
Al-G Barnes was famous as a wild animal trainer, and he had more variety of trained animals in his circus than about anybody. He was from California, toured up and down the West Coast, and was in business until the middle 30s under that name.
Have we had more different types of animals pulling wagons this year than we have in the past?
I think that's a good estimate. I think that with llamas and camels and all these things, and now elephants and horses and ponies and miniature horses, we've had quite an array.
We'll never see a lion or a tiger pulling any one of those stages.
I don't think I'll stay for that.
All right. Unless it's like Tony the tiger, you know.
Then they're going to have to put a cage on our stand here.
Well, they've been thinking about that today anyway.
This elephant tableau wagon is both old and new. The original built in Venice, California, somewhere around 1920. One of only 3 such wagons built for American circuses.
Now it says that the wagon dropped out of sight for a while. I suppose that's what happens to a lot of them, and you try to discover where they are.
Then we try to discover where they are. The elephant carvings on this one were used at a place near Hollywood, a place that leased animals for movie use.
I noticed the pace is slowed up just a little bit here. Is it the elephants that slow up the pace? I'm sure elephants can run as fast as...
Elephants can run pretty fast, but this one elephant hitch on the elephant tableau seems to be moving slowly.
I see.
It even looks like the crowd's starting to move around a little bit down the way.
Well, there are only a couple of wagons left, unfortunately, but
I know,
one
this
of
is
the
kind
best.
Of sad.
One of the best is coming up.
Really?
Yeah, it's your favorite and mine, and you don't even realize it because we are at odds.
Oh, this is the great debate over the
great debate
over the Calliope or the Calliope.
You know, I don't want to get anything going to divide Milwaukee on this or anything. We don't want to do that.
Let's change the subject to the pressure of the steam in the Calliope.
There you go, Mr.
In the
Diplomat.
what? The steam pressure to play the Calliope.
Or the Calliope.
We were going to change something here.
No, we're not. Yeah, okay, we should. I guess if you cannot figure it out now through our conversation, this is the steam Calliope American wagon coming up Wisconsin Avenue, pulled by 8 Percherons.
Now, how did these operate?
Well, there's a steam boiler in them, and the steam pressure is used to blow whistles, and the whistles are tuned, and then the keyboard plays each whistle in its proper turn.
It's got to be a very heavy wagon to start out with.
It's the heaviest of all I think we've seen today. And here it is.
Let's listen. East side, west side.
Kathy knows that song also. This is the signature wagon, which is the last wagon, isn't it?
The finale of the Great Parade.
Yes, it really is.
But it's not the finale of what you're going to see, because we do have some pictures of some of the finest scenes that we saw during the parade, and we're going to have some of those for you when we come back.
You're looking at the most grueling automotive test of the year. To simply survive, you've got to be good. But to emerge as 4x4 of the year, you've got to be the best. Toyota's SR5B6 is the 4x4 of the year. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Wait, don't just toss it, recycle it, and join the thousands of families who are helping to preserve our environment, to keep it clean and healthy for generations to come. The Peltz Group makes recycling fun and convenient with one-stop payback centers open 6 days a week at 3 locations. South, A1 Recycling, 21st and Morgan. North, Peltz Recycling, 32nd and Hampton. East, Cream City Recycling on East Thomas off North Avenue at the river. Peltz makes recycling easy.
It's fun and we make money too. Mom!
Time and time again, the world's great pictures are trusted to one brand of film, Kodak. Why trust your memories to anything less?
Chance to laugh and yell and scream. America loves a young kid's dream, and America loves its big boy.
And you'll love our new fresh summer specials like grilled shrimp salad, tangy barbecue chicken with fresh garden salad, and leave room for fresh strawberry, blueberry, and Door County cherry desserts.
America loves its big boy.
Channel 12's live coverage of the 1989 Great Circus Parade has been brought to you by Mark's Big Boy, by Kodacolor Gold Film, show your true colors, by the Peltz Group, a family of companies serving Wisconsin's recycling needs, by Kunzelman Esser, Wisconsin's finest furniture store since 1900, is proud to be a participating sponsor of the 1989 Great Circus Parade, by your Toyota dealer. Whatever car or truck you choose, you'll love the quality. Who could ask for anything more? And by True Value Hardware. For quality, selection, and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice.
Our sponsors made it possible for us to have this parade coverage today, and I do have some great news. We didn't miss a thing in the parade. It just so happened that the horses sort of stopped miraculously in front of our place, and my goodness
Well, maybe
gracious.
we planned that, but we won't
I
tell.
don't think so.
We won't tell. You know, we've really enjoyed ourselves here today, but let's call on our friend Ernest Borgnine, as we did earlier, to help sum up his feelings about today's Great Circus Parade.
Well, not only how much they've enjoyed themselves, but the miraculous feeling that has come upon them for a few hours. They've forgotten all their woes and their bad things, and suddenly the whole world is taken on a whole new meaning. And that's what life is all about. And if we can bring that, and thank God there's such a man like Ben Barkin here in Milwaukee who has made it all possible, then I say, not only is he a great American, but he's a great provider of fun for all the peoples of Milwaukee and Wisconsin. Thank God for Ben Barkin.
Yes, thank God for Ben Barkin. That's very true. Let's, Tom, another good year. Last thought?
Well, this was another great parade where we've done the things we've talked about earlier of maintaining the tradition and accurate history, and also bringing something new. Something new every year. This year, the 40-horse hitch and the Two Hemispheres bandwagon.
It's going to be hard to top next year.
We've managed every year. We'll do it again.
Thanks, Tom, for joining us again. Kathy, did you enjoy it?
Thank you, John. It was tremendous. It's the first time that I've actually had this great a view of the circus parade, and I loved every second of it.
And I hope you all out there had a great, great view. Thanks for joining us tonight, or today, and I hope you come back next year and see us once again. The Great Circus Parade has ended. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I'm trying to keep track of how many horses there are here. It's advertised as a 40-horse hitch. I just want to make sure that
The New York Times calls it musical theater at its finest, a triumph. The New York Press says that in form and execution, it is dazzlingly innovative. In spirit, it is theatrical ecstasy. Live at Milwaukee's Marcus Amphitheater for 5 spectacular nights, September the 6th through the 10th, the Old Style Concert Series, together with your Milwaukee area one-time Chrysler Plymouth dealers, bring you a chorus line. On sale now at the Amphitheater box office. All Ticketron outlets are charged at 800-843-1558.